Ben, c'est jamais pareil, tu vas pas dire que c'est full spectacle. C'est full spectacle quand il y a rien qui passe. All right, everybody, welcome back to Out of This World News. I'm your host, Patrick, and, AKA OTW. You know who I'm talking about. So welcome back, everybody. This is awesome. We already got a bunch of people in chat. Let's shout out the chat. Mindful Exposure, welcome to the show. We got Bear Jew, Salted Cedar, Sterling Ray. Welcome, welcome. We also have Mr. Snafu Crew, Strike Team's in the house. Mr. E, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be a great one today. I can feel it in my bones. All right, we got rid of that overlay. Now, how about a mic check? Let's check this out. Let's see how it sounds out there. Not bad at all. I've got this new mixer thingy. If I remove, mic check. Oh shit. So I have to move it up by one. All right. Okay. So it's like a compressor noise gate thing going. So it pretty much cuts out all the exterior sounds. While I'm not speaking. Let me guess. Did that repeat itself? Hold on a sec. No, it didn't. Okay, so there's no echo. All right. Let's go back to the shout out. We got Spear Taco 24 is in the house. He goes, "You're muted, man. No audio." What? What you talking about, man? I'm not muted. I can hear myself on YouTube. If you guys don't hear me on YouTube, there must be a problem with YouTube. Five by five. That's what I thought. Yeah. You're fine. Your audio is fine. Hey, I even got the new mixer set up. It's really awesome. I could play like this, and it'll sound really good even while I'm talking. Isn't that awesome? I even have control over the volume like that, just like that. So you can bring it up, bring it down. Isn't that awesome? Dun, 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 dun. I'm grooving to this. Hey, what's up, Rodney Kitley? Good mood today. It's a show. It's like, bring it down a bit, but I'm just like in a good mood. It's like everything sounds great, man. Yep. I got a little bit of noise gate on the music too. Some compression. It's just like fucking awesome, guys. I'm tripping. You know what I need to do now is be able to patch the guitar through that mixer, because it's in the other mixer. It sounds good too, but imagine that I'd even get that extra quality that I'm looking for because of the compressor in there. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm talking about, maybe. freaking great. I didn't know I could bring it down so low. All right. Okay, let me go check it out now. All right. Sounds good. Good to hear, man. Yeah, that's true. Hey, is it me or I didn't drop the link? All right. What's up, Snafu Snaps?
Yo, I want to address this real quick, if I may, Mr. OTW. This has nothing to do with you. You kept your nose clean in this situation. This has to do with our guru Polly boy. Our guru little fat fuck Polly boy,
no.
The coward.
Oh,
lied
no.
to you guys about Monograph checking his ass. Here's what's funny. Paul seems to be questioning me when I'm giving the Jack Talcott optics about his predatory optics, right? Jack has said over the years and admitted that his own family called him out on predatory optics. And if you don't see the fact that he's so adamant at trying to find others to fix his family, and this grown man says, well, I don't know why my family doesn't treat me the way we are. This grown man knows exactly why. Well, here's what's funny. Old Polly boy is like, well, we can't take your word for it. Blah, blah, blah. You need to pull this fucking shit. You know what's funny, Paul? I started thinking about Ian's content over a year ago that he reposted. It's funny how you know. And in that video, it's all Paul calling fucking Talcott on the rape optics, right? And then all of a sudden now, he wants to switch around. Well, I don't know shit. I don't know. No. Motherfucker, here's what I know. You're a coward. You bitched out with Monograph and lied to the people. Now you're defending Jack Talcott when we got footage that Ian even posted of you calling Jack out on the rape shit. So when you want to discredit me, you piece of shit, Paul, let's remember the strike team is real. And here's what's real too, whistleblowers. Fat fucks who grift off people for their guru shit, who want to discredit me, will get handled, Polly boy. And that's all I got to say, OTW, because this motherfucker's not only lying to you, he lied to you about the Monograph situation. Paul got checked back in. Now he's going to try and defend Talcott, say, oh, he snaps, you're uncredible, this, that. Motherfucker, Paul, we have footage of you calling his ass out. Fucking over a year ago. So you want to play this fucking game, Polly boy? The Snafu crew don't need your ass. We will strike the fuck out of you. And you guys are all getting baited by a fat fuck who's grifting, who ain't doing shit in the streets. He got fucking caught by the cops. Well, maybe we'll fucking finally see him put to work some action. But all you motherfuckers who want to question me, start questioning your piece of shit, Polly boy. Why is he switching his narrative all of a sudden, huh? When we do have the foot, Ian played it. We reviewed it on your channel, right? No, I started thinking about him going off on me yesterday, and I'm like, nah, fuck that. This motherfucker lied to y'all about getting checked by Monograph. He fucking is just in his griff little YouTube stats. We call him a pogo hornet nest for a reason. Me and him have had our ups and downs, but fuck that, man. And so, Paul, you're here now. It seems that you forget because we're reviewing the footage, and we have more than one tape of you calling Jack out on this shit. So now I'm sitting here like, yeah, this motherfucker wants to talk to me about fucking, oh, you got to have this. Now, you know, how come we have you calling it out? More than one video. We're still looking for the ones that Jack said out of his own mouth. But this is what's funny. You motherfuckers witness the optics. Now, all of a sudden, you seem to forget it. Interesting.
It is interesting. Maybe everyone's whole fucking life doesn't revolve around retards online like yours. Difficult for you to conceive of, huh? That many of us have so much else going on that we're not sitting around memorizing or holding on to whatever the fuck happened a year and a half ago in passing on a panel full of retarded people. Amazing, huh?
No rebuttal. Just silence. It's funny, he's here now and you're not fucking.
Because he's a punk pussy. That's why.
It's like,
he was running his
like,
fat fucking mouth, and now that I'm here,
right,
he's not so uppity, huh?
Oh, he leaves. Oh, he leaves.
Yeah, because he's another fucking jealous, envious, hating punk coward. All it really amounts to is you think I'm getting something you're not. That's what all this energy is about. It's not about Talcott, pedophilia, and all the rest of it. It's about me being able to do what I do and somehow get along in life, and you being fucking poor and broke and having no life and no audience without other people's fucking channels, by the way. Kid's insane. Wow. He needs inpatient therapy, that kid.
Well, actually, honestly, I'm going to say I wasn't expecting that off the bat, right off the start of the broadcast. It was like, it was unexpected. So when he started bitching about you, it was like, what the fuck is going on now? Broke bad again.
He's got the balls to call me fat, right? Like they all do. You ain't exactly winning any swimsuit competitions yourself there, chubby.
Oh no, man. All right, and this started all because of what? Oh, because of
he's
Jack Talcott.
Broke and has no identity online, even though he's desperate for one. So he has to impinge on everyone else's broadcast and presentment and remix narratives that we're all in some club together. By the way,
his issue.
You're continuing to destroy your non-credibility by lying about Monograph and me. Monograph apparently called someone related to me, but never talked to me, never called me, never interacted with me. So I don't know why you keep saying that he checked me. He did something and he scared me and checked me. I don't know why that narrative continues on to this day, even though it never happened.
Yeah. Well, he tends to do that. He tends to come up with his own conclusions and then, spreads that out as truth from his point of view, right? But
he's a traumatized, pathetic liar, and he needs help.
Right.
Someone help him.
So I guess this all stemmed from the fact that you brought Jack up on your panel and you backstaged him to have a conversation with Jack or something. I have this funny feeling this is what it's all about. And it's like, or that's where it started. Am I right?
He didn't get seen and heard enough. He's not monopolizing everyone's channels enough, right? The audience hasn't seen and heard enough of him to the point where they're sick of him.
That's the truth. Well, now that he's not here, anybody else want to join the show and come and have a conversation and talk about shit, topics. We this is an open panel, open topic. Go ahead, don't be shy. Click the link, share the show out, do all that shit. I'm dropping it now. So, yeah. I was just testing out my new sound setup, man. I got this new virtual mixer now that I can patch different inputs and have control over all the volumes with integrated compressor and noise gate. It's top notch, man. I'm tripping. Because I didn't used to have the control over the sound effects on the soundboard like this, Now I do. I wonder.
Well, Snapso, I think I'm done with you. One of my issues is I keep letting retarded people back into my life, right? Because I pity them and I think they're pathetic and powerless. So even though they break bad on me and talk shit, it never really bothers me because there's really never any consequence or effect long term. So I always wind up letting these pathetic, embarrassing, loser, failure retards back into my existence. But I think going forward, if you're going to continue this constantly and stick on this, I just don't have you back, right? Maybe I play some of your clip videos because they're decent. You know, they're decent New World Order, fear porn, slavery videos. I could go to them for 15 to 20 minutes, but you're insufferable. As a character, as a presentment, as sort of an interview or an interaction, you're terrible. You're horrible. And it's constantly the same shit over and over again.
Yeah. It's never really anything new to contribute to particular conversations. Always bringing it back to, the pedo pogo optic, which, I guess it gets old. It's like
you forgive these guys because they're retarded, and you kind of take pity on them, and then they everything's kind of okay for a while, and then every few weeks or a few months or so, they something happens. They're reminded that they're loser failures, and they have nothing going on in their life, and then they start projecting it all over everyone else. Right. So then we're right back into it, instead of them just fucking fixing themselves in their life and creating a better existence that they can enjoy, they cycle back to whoever did something to them, whoever's up to something. Someone's evil around me. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's you and your horrible existence that gets you so riled up and you don't want to look at it. Right. Is it possible that it's you and not everyone else and the pedos and pogos? That's the thing. You want to help these people because you're aware on some level they're crazy, they're insane. And then how insane do I become interacting with insane people and then trying to give them the benefit of the doubt?
Because that's one of those sayings where you become what you focus on, right? Or you eventually become what you hate, and it's kind of like that process where if you put so much energy into that, you'll actually become that, right? So that's what Snafu's probably just putting so much energy and focus into that's the only thing that comes out of his mouth now, I don't know. It's does he do any other research?
Why is he gone now? He was just yelling, screaming, cursing at me, threatening me, and now he's gone. What happened? You guys are amazing.
I don't know. He just left like a coward and ran. Just
the same way Monograph checked me is the way you just did. When I show up, they run and got nothing to say. That's the checking. What he just did looks a lot like that week. Monograph supposedly checked me and then came over and I called him a bitch and I dared him and his little hitman buddy over there, his little butt buddy who comes online with masks on, to pop the fuck up. And he didn't say shit, and he hasn't been here yet, and we haven't seen him since. That's the checking that went on.
He goes, your confusion continues to grow back immediately after you make some type of truthful point, and it gets reverted within days. In essence, it becomes the tard that cried pedo pogo. I love that. That's good. The tard that cried pedo pogo. Yeah. Eventually nobody listens anymore. There's OT dubs with nice points of intelligence. Yeah, right. I'm a listener, gather.
All right, well, go ahead, OTW. I just, I was dealing with the plants and kind of listening just to see, I kind of tune into you at this point out of habit, if nothing else, during the morning. And I heard him running his big fat fucking mouth. So I figured I'd show up and have the conversation, but he ran. And now it's kind of like, well, where do we go with it? Right. So,
yeah, that's pretty much it. It's what the fuck are we going to do now? It's I never really have an initial topic, except for whatever's actually being spoken about at the moment when somebody comes up with something. But I just be me. So I just don't, it's not like I don't care. I'm just saying, I never really know what to start with or where to begin. So sometimes I end up doing something fucking stupid, like showing people how a guitar works.
But I don't know what to say or where to begin.
Right.
So I just gotta sit here.
Even after a year and a half, I'm still the same guy. It's
yeah, you got to develop some kind of a fucking track, man. You don't see how I kind of have some kind of a structure and a track, and I fill in between here and there.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. People actually tune into your broadcast for that in particular.
Wait, you're saying they're tuning into your broadcast for absolutely no structure and no topics, and for you to just look at them and wait for the audience to do something?
Yes, I think it has something to do with the fact that they just think I'm okay, and it's like, oh, he's all right, man. Let's just hang out with him. It's like I'm not like any of you guys out there who's actually bringing like all kinds of new information to you. I don't have a shtick like necessarily. Besides the fact that I'm a musician, an artist. Those are my things, besides that, political conversations. Yeah, I guess I could have my own opinions on them, but just to go head off and monologue about philosophy and spiritual faith and stuff it's not something that I've practiced, let's say, or inherently inside of me that wants to come out and fucking start, I tend to more like listen into the conversations and then like give my perspective when when it actually intrigues me.
People, you're telling me what I know about me. Like I subscribe to the whole we're all kind of the same person. Like, what do you think? I get up in the morning and go, Jack, I got a list of things I've been thinking about this morning that I want to present. Like, no,
I think you really go off the top of your head,
and then I listen, and then it triggers something, and then I go off talking. You gotta like know yourself enough to know what incites you and what triggers you or what creates the thought process.
I gotta find my trigger
so that it happens, and then you become you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
Play yourself against the audience in a way.
Oh yeah. So I have to find my trigger. Holy shit.
Yeah,
never really thought of that, man.
Like, I actually get on every day. I'm in a pretty good mood and I could just have a pleasant day, but I go, well, what's the fun in that? So I pull up a whole bunch of stuff that I already know is going to trigger me. And then 3 hours in, I'm ranting and raving and don't even really know how I got there because I know me enough to know what gets me going. Right. And then it's like, do I even really need to prepare anything? I just know that when I go to breaking slave news and I go to talking about cops and legal awful and all the rest of the freak show, that I'm bound to be like stunned and amazed and then have some commentary. If not, just vent on the slavery, right? So it kind of works, I guess.
But I know myself. I know exactly what you're talking about. And you know what? I know what my triggers are, Like, two of the most interesting triggers that I tend to lean towards would be topics about relationships, and the other one would be religion. Right? Those are the two topics that really get me fucking going. Actually, I know that they trigger me. That's for sure. So I guess I'd have to start playing videos about shit like that, man. Okay, all right. So now you're giving me some ideas to come up with a concept that might actually work. Yeah, like thanks for that.
Tap into your frustrations.
Yeah, I never thought that.
Your gears.
Instead, because I practiced over a year and a half of understanding my triggers, because of the reflections of myself out there in this metaverse. But never really thought about playing with my own triggers myself. And exploring that part of myself. That's a completely new avenue.
Right, but that's the thing. That's what makes this thing for me something different. Is like it's me versus me. I'm almost gaming myself against myself for the audience, if that makes sense. It's like the more you become aware of your sort of fears or insecurities or what you want, versus what it is, right? You can almost play the true self against the persona, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Because what it makes me think of is previously, before we had this little conversation, I was always thinking about about the things that I liked. Like, well, what do I like? What do I like doing? What are my pastimes? So I figured that would be something that you want to create content with, but never actually thought about the things that I hated and despise and can't stand. So this is why this is completely new, because even though I've been watching you do your thing for so long, I never really realized that you were triggering yourself. Holy fuck. That's, I'm mind blown. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, I could come on and just like kind of talk like this for 3 hours, and we could talk about spiritual text, and it could be cute and cuddly and fun, and warm and fuzzy. But that's not the thing, right?
right. Yeah, right. Because I do enjoy controversy. I enjoy, like good conversations, debates, arguments, and what I just don't like is like the screaming over each other where nobody understands anything anybody says anyway. So it's like there's no point in.
Yeah, I
But
have a lot of
besides that,
frustrations in life, right? I'm a very frustrated man in life. I always have been. So I tap into that.
I could say that I'm a very angry guy too, and I remember a few times on broadcast where I actually let it out, right? But it was because I was triggered by a particular conversation or whatever was happening at that moment. So it was spontaneous. It wasn't, premeditated. All right. So now thinking that, okay, wait a minute, you can premeditate this shit. You can actually control your triggers and use them to create dialogue. I'm just like, my mind is. It's like a little kid who's just discovered new toys. Out of this world, manic moments. I'm kind of retarded. Yes, that's a great moment for that one. I do believe that, yeah, you're right. I should play it right now.
I'm kind of retarded.
Yep. Goes, remember when you were sticking up for Ian Cuktos de Betapoulos? It's funny how these people come up with these names.
Yeah, like what's the thing where everyone's like going to the past lately? Like Ian pulled up a stream for a year and a half ago, and then like tried to play it off like it was recent, and then like everyone's like bringing up, like so Christos can't like change as a person and develop more awareness and realize kind of the game beneath the game.
Right.
Like these are pretty nice people. They're regular nice people. They want to believe in other people. They want to like share love and time, energy, and attention, but they're painfully unaware of this lack of awareness of self and truth that gets in the way of kind of interactions, especially the group dynamics. So yeah, I mean, you got to kind of like realize what we're doing here. We're taking folks who have a good heart, who see the best in people and ignore the worst, and to their own detriment wind up around or a part of people in groups that are not to their highest good. Right? If you ignore the bad qualities in everyone else and only see the highest good, you wind up around people who are not in your highest good, right? Or to your highest service of self, you could argue. So yeah, man, it's like, I could have love for Ian. I could care for him as a person. I could see that he's like, a nice kid, quote unquote. But I mean, what does that mean in a world where you're going to have to make choices based on value systems and principles? And when you don't, there's going to be problem for you and everyone else. There's plenty of people I meet in the world who are nice people, but they're not good people because they have no set of principles and standards and values to shoot for. They just let themselves around anyone and anything and let anything come into their sphere of influence and interfere with whatever it is their purpose or goals aren't in this life, right? So,
but doesn't that actually create a debate in itself? Because doesn't it like have the side where you want to do what's true and what's right and what needs to be done? Because I believe there's a fine line between those two things, right?
Say that again.
I said, wouldn't that create a polarity in itself by having like this moral judgment issue where you want to do what's true and what's right, but there are things that are like need to be done, that it's necessary to be done, and if you're acting in the true and right, that particular thing cannot be it won't be done. You need the other polarity to get that done. So it doesn't become like an inner battle between those two different perspectives.
Yeah, it's pretty much the juncture between purpose and pleasure. You know, a lot of these folks on here live their life just strictly by what feels good, you know, what's nice to them, you know, wanting to like, you know, have a pleasant time. And it's like, yeah, I get that. You know, we can have love and care for all people and probably should, but ultimately, is there not like certain purpose to this life? Do you guys act like you don't evaluate people when you're out and about? They go, oh, this is like shallow. This is judgmental. It's like, no, this is something the creator gave us in order to know ourselves and know others and to be able to predict the future in a sense. So, you know, when I meet someone and I see immediately that their awareness is off and what they're seeing is off, and they're making choices over and over again that lead to their own detriment, why would I want to go deeper into a relationship with that person? Obviously, seeing there's a liability there. Right. And then that they're too arrogant to realize other people can know them by knowing themselves and can give them an answer to get themselves out of it. They won't take it. Say, no, it's my life. I'm going to continue to fuck it up and complain about it. Okay, well, then I'm not going to be in it. Right. And then you become judgmental or materialistic because you don't want to subject yourself to people's
or you don't care
and nonsense.
Or you don't care. You get accused of not caring.
Yeah, I care more about myself and my life than I do about being accepted or liked or liking other people. I thought that was called self-esteem and self-confidence and self-worth.
Well, that's what I thought it was as well, but some people don't see it that way. They see it as selfishness,
any of it.
When narcissism. They don't have any
of it, they're going to see it as arrogance because they don't have any of it. So when you do have it, you must be arrogant because they have no standards. That's the game.
So what y'all were saying, you know, it was making me think in general what you guys are saying about this, you know, duality and how people hop between polarities and there's a lack of nuance and subtlety or understanding of certain complex dynamics taking place with these interactions. You know, it makes me think of the zebra thing. You know, it's basically a subconscious symbolic display and expression of how Snafu and many of his crew have this overly dualistic black and white either or you know, view on things. And they'll say it's the camouflage, you know, hopping and infiltrating in the pedo pogos and whatnot. But I mean, really, it's just kind of like the Masonic thing with the Masonic tiles. It's an oversimplification that takes place with these people's mindsets with the polarity swinging. Yeah, so I just wanted to add that. Disingenuous.
Yeah, you got a lot of folks who are unactualized and unrealized in their life, and there's no coincidence. They have no career prospects. They have no mates. Their children are uncared for. They're poor and broke. So they latch on to some specialization in order to achieve equalization in some metric of value or power. And that's what a lot of these folks are doing. Instead of them working on creating something for themselves that's going to lead somewhere for themselves in their life, they're pretending that they're ultra selfless. They've given up on themselves and creating a life for themselves, but they're going to latch on to some trutherism, right? This is like the bane of all of our existence. You're not kidding anyone except yourself, maybe, and it's not going anywhere for you or anyone else. Furthermore, nobody's going to listen to someone who's dissolute in pretty much every area of their life and lacks credibility. I mean,
right. Or have nothing to show.
That's just how the world works. I mean, I guess it doesn't. If you want to be part of U.S. corporation, Donnie's your daddy and so is Joey. So as I say this, I become highly aware of, oh my God, actually the world's becoming more and more where if you have no credibility and no principles and values, you start running everything. So I guess that's what they're hoping for. They're hoping for the completion of this new world order where the least credible, least valuable, most insane people control everything, while the people who are competent and capable, talented, and have ability basically get relegated to a box or middle-class slavery. I like that. It's interesting. We're shaking things up, right? So, yeah, I mean, if Snafu gets his way with Shaitan, he will have, like, forever a position in the kingdom of Shaitan as someone incompetent and capable, but somehow equalized in some false power structure to cast judgment upon everyone else. I'm looking forward to that.
Right. I guess he'll just end up being a general. For
It's like the Bernie Sanders syndrome, right? Bernie Sanders is a window into the modern day time. A guy who has no credibility, no value, produces and creates nothing, is unwitting, right? It's like these aren't witty, clever, talented, well-spoken people. These are retarded people who don't do anything. Yet somehow they're propped up as like we should listen to them and follow them. This is the time we're in. It's complete inversion land.
That I've noticed.
And what y'all were saying with these, in response to whoever that was that made the comment about Ian's channel and all that, fuck, I just lost it. My bad, y'all. I'm at work right
Saying
now.
that Ian had brought up a stream from a year ago. If this is what you're referring to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I was just going to say what y'all were saying there a moment ago in response to that, with these quote unquote like loser, truther, looper channels, panel channels. I've seen a dynamic that takes place where it's that cheerleader effect that we've learned about earlier in life, whatnot, where someone will place themselves around people that are obviously way below them in many aspects and regards because they know they're going to get hyped up and be able to basically feed off this energy. People are going to put that person on the pedestal and like, oh, this person's so smart. People will hop into these panels knowing that it's a lot of dumb truthers and they can just say some nice sounding stuff. And now they're going to get propped up. Oh, we love when you hop on panel, blah, blah, blah. And so I actually had to even check myself.
That kind of reminds me of Nachiketa, what you're saying.
Yeah.
OTW, seriously, like check me if I need it. I get how it kind of sounds, but like, am I off here in the sense of like from day one, you go to a party, right? Like, I don't even care what like the dress, whatever else, like even the extras at like the shallow materialistic stuff. But it's like you go somewhere and you meet people, right? And you go, okay, what do you do? And they go, this is it. Like I sit around, I don't do anything, I get high, take DMT. My conversation is like bizarre. Like, I'm judgmental and like I'm a bad person because I go, I don't think there's any value in being with these people and doing this. Right? Like, I think it's a detriment to them. Like what point did we lose? Like Tommy said yesterday, there's no common sense. It doesn't exist. It never did. It's not a real thing. I go, I'm pretty sure it is. Like if you take somebody who's not like a bleeding heart and misled constantly, and they have some level of discernment, and you bring them around these people, they're going to go, why are you here? Why did you bring me here? Right? And it's like, they're not being shallow. They're like, there's no good conversation. There's no knowledge and resolution. These people are poor and broke, and there's no women around. Who wants to be part of that scene? Seriously. Who wants to be part of that scene? No one. Not even the people who are there. They're wishing they were somewhere else. Are we shallow and egotistical and narcissistic for just calling out the obvious self-evident?
Dude, you're just describing events that happened in my life recently, man. It's just like, it's uncanny how you just do that. It's incredible, man.
Because we're all living the same reality. At some point you get with the program and you go, oh my God, I see why I have such a limited life and lifestyle. Because I hang around loser failures all day, every day. Or I sit with myself in some fucking guilty, negative state of beingness instead of just like standing up, standing out, doing and creating something, and then doing it long enough to where I create a different life and outcome for myself. I don't see how that's like shallow materialistic. I thought that was growing the fuck up. I thought at some point we mature and grow the fuck up and go, there's certain things in life we got to kind of do and be to establish power, value, and credibility. It's almost like innate.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost instinctual. Right? So I don't understand where this whole like, I do understand it's called communism, where this whole idea of appeal to emotion came out of the blue. And now facts don't matter. Whether you can pay your fucking rent anymore doesn't matter. whether you like actually work a career or serve a function in the community, doesn't matter anymore. Everyone has equal value. Everyone deserves the equal amount of love. Everyone deserves the equal amount of credibility and value in a community. What world are you all living in? Seriously. If you got up and went to the store and there was nothing laid out because the guy was doing DMT in the back and talking about shadow people, you'd go, what the fuck is this? What is this, an insane asylum? But somehow when we come on the internet with a bunch of retards who don't want to do anything for themselves or anyone else, it becomes acceptable and even valued. You guys are bizarre. You really need to take your fucking head out of your ass and stop playing these heart-based games with yourself and each other. It's not going anywhere. You're tricking everyone out of their ultimate potential and power and value.
I remember back in the day when it used to be customers were always right, you know. Now it's like, who gives a shit what the customer thinks? It's the corporation or the business that's going to tell you what you like, and if you know, that's it and that's all. There's no two ways about it.
Used to be you walked up on someone and you go like within 10 minutes, this is someone who's like moving and shaking. They got an energy. They like on the path to success, even if they're not there yet. And now like, we can't do that. That doesn't exist. It's not real. Right. And I go, no, it still is for some of us. I can get in the room with people and within 20 minutes to an hour establish where we're going long term with this. And like what their level of like care for self and truth and to be successful in this life is. That's a negative thing, to have some fucking self-worth and self-esteem and be conscious and aware of self and have some level of fucking standards collectively that we like work toward. That's a negative thing.
Right. No, it isn't. And it's funny because I was mentioning that
slaves to just sit in their feelers all day, every day and get catcoin and never have to do or be anything. We're there. They're preparing all of them.
Yeah, it's funny because I was mentioning just that to Harmon yesterday during the broadcast. You know, he was on the broadcast with me yesterday, and I was saying that particular thing. You know that at a certain point, you know, there are certain people you just can't resonate with anymore. You know, it's just like you grow past that. You know, and you need a new stimulus, something that'll you know, bring you to the next level, if you want to call it that, you know, because if you stay stagnant, then you're going to end up like Snafu and always fucking stuck on the same fucking thing. And he always brings up the excuse that it's by repetitiveness that you program things into people's mind. Yeah, well, okay, maybe, but there's also the annoyance part of that comes into play, right? So unless you're not bringing anything new to the table every time, you can have a baseline, but never bringing anything, you know, new to the table, then it's just redundant, and you know, it doesn't give necessarily any value or any new information to anybody. It doesn't keep people on their toes, doesn't keep them up to date to whatever is really actually happening. Just repetitive nonsense and attacking people that actually don't even deserve to be attacked for no apparent reason, right? So I know I'm just like going off here and there. I'm not really focusing on the topic there. I just like rambling, actually. Just rambled there. Yeah. Now I kind of lost my train of thought and forgot what the fuck we were talking about. Must be the reefer. You know what? I think I'm going to have to quit this shit, man. It's kind of like a habit. And you go live and then you just like, you end up smoking like freaking 20 joints in a row. Yeah. Got to keep myself busy. I'm being polite, but not calling out and instructing where to avoid. Yeah, I agree, man. So am I. It's like one of my folks, but it's not easy. Anyway. Yeah, that almost sounded like Jack. Travis is rambling, man. You're rambling. Yeah, I'm rambling, man. what happens. What's up? Welcome to the show. All right. Yeah, that's it. It's about multitasking. You got to keep your mind busy. You know, because this is kind of like just slows me down. You know. Paul must have got a call or something. He was on a roll and wouldn't have just stopped otherwise. Okay. Possibly. Sometimes he just sits back and waits to see if the person he's having the conversation with has something to engage with, right? Which I tend to lose that kind of thing, right? I was like, yeah. I copy his stuff. Oh, okay. I get it. Coming back to Jack. Wash, rinse, repeat. I have done injustice to the concepts of God, the now, and meditation. Been practicing archery and started a little garden this year. Yeah, actually, I've actually started opening up an area in my backyard to start a garden. I'm a little bit on the same kind of path there, but I have like 6 hours of cutting grass. Okay, so that tells you about how big this place is, right? So it takes me 6 hours to cut the grass all over the fucking place here. So there's 3 hours in the front and 3 hours in the back. So I've already done the front. So only like done 3 hours of work in the front, and now I need to do the back part, which is fuck. So it's not even grass anymore. It's hay now. It's like it's wheat, freaking 4 foot tall. Grows quick, man. Insane. You need a goot or a couple. Yeah, well, fuck. You know what I need is a fucking what's it called? Those things. Hold on a second. My mic is fucked. Testing 1 2 1 2. Hold on. Testing 1 2. There we go. Okay. I don't know what was happening there. Yeah. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, right. Need to cut the grass in the back. It's gonna be crazy. But then I already like started the weed eater in the back where I was gonna like the area where I want to do the garden. Then I gotta get a Lowe's. What's it fucking called? To turn the soil right, so we can get all the roots and all of that, all the shit, the weed out of there, and clean it up and be able to do rows and plant tomatoes, cucumbers, and whatnot. I still have like in this area, if you plant everything before like the 24th of June, you're good. You'll have a nice yield at the end of the season. So yeah, well, I should actually film myself cutting the grass and have it like a time lapse. So it does, it's like really quick, and you have it actually see how it's crazy. It takes me 3 hours to cut the grass in the front. I can, time lapse it into 3 minutes, which is would be pretty funny to see. Yeah, I've already done the grass in front. Now I got to do the grass in the back. But the problem is now I need a new strap for the blades, because every time I cut the grass, I burn out the strap. It's crazy. This is crazy. So every time it's a $20 strap every single time. So everyone, like, I would love to cut the grass once a week at least, but it's $20 every shot, man. That's not counting the gas. So it's like about $30 gas, Canadian, obviously, plus $20 for the strap. So cost $50 off the bat just to start cutting the grass here. And that's $30 just for the front. Imagine like it's another $30 of gas for the back. So anyway. Yeah, the belt. There's a strap that goes on pulleys, and these pulleys turn the blade. It's a tractor. It's a tractor lawnmower. It's like you sit on it, and it's just like you drive it and mows the lawn. 42-inch blade or something like that. 48. Yeah, 48 or something. 42 or so. Anyways, like two blades. How big is that yard, OTW? I'd have to measure it. It's like it should be at least 200 feet by maybe 200 feet that way too. Maybe more. Maybe it's like on the length, like if you follow the road, I think it's about 300 feet and maybe 200 feet from the road to the river, because I have a river in my backyard. Have to light for sure. I wonder if you could wax one of those belts to give it a bit more durability. Wax it. I don't know. That's something I've never heard of before. Waste. I can't get enough of it if kids allow it. So, all right. So what I'm gonna do is just play a video real quick. Share a stream. Oops, cancel that. Go back here, and there it is. Okay. Videos. Go with the oh, Chris is back. What's up, dude?
Hey, yeah, a lot of these people need to check themselves into Truthers Anonymous, as Bex had called it. There is a lot of coping going on here in the Trutherverse, man. And then other than that, I don't know what you're about to play. I'm not suggesting anything, but I'm just letting everyone know. Bro Sanchez has done a great reset with his community. And Bro Sanchez is how I found OTW and all these other channels over time. But if anyone wants to know what I'm talking about, just go to Key Norfolk, North with an F, not a TH. And he had a 7-hour stream yesterday with Bro Sanchez on, speaking on some community dynamics taking place and fumigating the rats out the community, out of the mean.
Yeah, interesting. What's is there any way I can get you to drop me a link?
Yeah.
Because I'm not obviously not sub to that channel, but that would be pretty interesting. And you know what? That's funny you say that, because the other day I was reviewing some Bro Sanchez, and somebody said in chat that it would be interesting to see an interaction between Paul and Bro Sanchez. That and like just to see where they take it. What are your thoughts on that, dude?
Yeah, I dropped it in the back. And
All right.
I didn't know if you were actually trying to play it right now, but I have a timestamp if you did to skip the.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Why not, dude?
Okay.
Paul's probably busy right now, so we'll just go ahead and play that, because you know me, man. You know how it is. This is OTW news, man. It's like, share the screen. Tuesday midday live stream. Is that it? That must be it. Yeah. Key Norfolk. All right. So let me see. It's funny how you're aware of all these particular broadcasts. It's like I know about a few places like LC's and.
Mic check.
Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear.
Yeah, 225.00.
All right.
That's when Bro Sanchez comes in. It's actually funny. He sounds like he's coming in through a tin can at first.
What's up,
Oh,
bro?
I'm on guard. I'm guard dog.
Bro
Yeah,
Sanchez, you got the mic?
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Much love to y'all, man. I'm loving everything that's happening in this whole community, bro, because it's just gonna separate the real from the fake. And this shit is so needed, man. I'ma say, while this shit is happening,
Much love, bro.
much love, OG. This shit is happening, and I'm like, damn, man, you just don't know. A nigga just feels so fucking angry because it's like, how the fuck I didn't see this shit? But you know, man, you know what? I ain't gonna bring that to your channel. But damn,
Nah,
bro.
hell nah,
None
bro.
of
You
us
got
saw it, baby.
focus,
None
shit
of
to
us
do,
saw it.
whatever, bro. And you know what,
None
bro
of us saw
Sanchez?
it.
Shout out
Hey,
to
the reason we all came here, man, like OG reached out to a nigga initially, but like I was telling niggas, like I actually hit bro up, like, so I ain't gonna never be on no hating shit, cause I know I got other resources and shit, but bro Sanchez do this shit when it come to YouTube. I gotta give respect when respect is due. This,
Yeah, respect my nigga. You
year
already
younger
know.
than me, year or two younger than me or something, but he the nigga when it come to doing this shit. So I hate that nigga. No. You know, I don't feel no type of way about it. I don't feel fucked up or nothing. I said, bro, let me sit around. Let me see how to do this shit. And that nigga open his arms to show me that shit. So why would I hate on this man? And he did the same shit to Bobby. Bobby wouldn't have no fucking channel popping like this right now if it wasn't for Sanchez, bro. So regardless of whatever the fuck he got to
My
say about
channel
it.
too. I gotta give brother
Exactly, bro.
respect.
But
I
you know
wouldn't
what?
have most of the people that rock with me. So like I got nothing but love for Sanchez. But real quick, I want to say this, right? You know, these fake woke motherfuckers. Shout out to, you know, the flat power community. We ain't just going at pedophiles. We're going at homosexuality, the whole system, the judicial system, the churches, NASA, you know, the corporation. You know, these are, you know, fake woke. They picking and choosing who they want to go after. We're going after all of them. Call it all that shit out.
We on the fake woke motherfuckers
But
head
my
over here.
thing, my
But
It's
thing
all
is this.
systematic, man. If you can't admit that it's all systematic, and just like it took a system and time to get it here, you're gonna have a systematic plan to go back.
And
Oh yeah, you got it, bro.
my thing be, I'm gonna point out a bunch of shit I want y'all what's sticking out to me right now. Bobby always take up for celebrities, man. I peep that shit. He'll try, like whenever I'm going in on some celebrity like Diddy or some celebrity for being a pedo or something, he'll come in and be like, but you ain't called this person out, or you ain't do, and I ain't think nothing of it. I thought, okay, the nigga just hating on me. Now I'm starting to realize these dudes are really trying to get in the industry. Because check it out now. Zay parted with Puff Daddy. I'm going to say that again. Zay, which is Bobby's best friend, is a she-male that parted with Puff Daddy. Now, when I was doing all the Puff Daddy shit, guess what? The nigga was he wasn't really going in on Puff Daddy like that with me. He was trying to make it about, well, you know, what the fuck I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that, but it ain't hit me. My thing is this too, right? Bobby mad at me because he said I'm talking about Terrence Howard wearing a wig and wearing tights and stuff, but I ain't talking about pedophiles. Now check this out, right? Don't y'all find it crazy that Bobby is defending a man in a wig and his best friend a she-male?
Straight up.
And I'm
He
I
saying,
want to
your
say this
ass out
about
of here.
Terrence
Get
Howard
that
with
nigga
that wig,
E-Dip.
though.
Get that nigga
I
big
want
E-Dip
to,
up
fact.
out
I
of
want
here.
to say,
Bro,
I want to say
E-Dip.
Terrence
Hold
did that
on,
to
sis.
get
1
attention,
second,
though.
sis. Hey, sis, hold on 1 second. Get E-Deep ass up out of here.
hey,
Block him the fuck in the chat.
and I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell y'all some real shit, man. You got a lot of chicks over there trying to talk bad about me and shit like that with Bobby.
I'm going to say this, and I got receipts, and I'm telling y'all this on my niggas Keynote for channel first. Bro, it's 2 chicks that's over there around Bobby that know I can leak their nudes right now. They know I got their nudes. Quit playing with me. You know you sent me your nudes.
Shit.
You know I got your nudes. Real talk, but guess what though? You know they call that sex crime. What is the name of that now when you leak revenge porn or something? Now check it out.
Revenge porn.
2 of them chicks that's around Bobby on my grandma's grave, they both sent me nudes, y'all. He got 2 chicks around him now, y'all. I got them chicks nudes, y'all. This is facts,
This is
y'all.
nigga we talking about. This is nigga we talking about right here. This nigga wear crochet braids in his head. This nigga greased up like Keyshawn Belly, man, with some motherfucking with some fucking contacts in his goddamn eyes, man. Come on, man. This nigga is a fucking homosexual, man. If he want to be fruity, just say that shit. Don't try to be around real niggas and try to cause tension with real niggas and all that type of shit and act like a scorn ass woman, bro. Use a fucking
Now,
fruit
Key,
box, bro.
Hey, Key, let me cook with you. Leave this image up of that nigga, right? And I want everybody to think about this while y'all see that image, right? Yeah. This is a nigga who got children, right? But he said he don't fight. So I want y'all to think about this, right? You mean to tell me if a nigga smack spit out your motherfucking mouth, right? You gonna shoot a nigga and go away from your kids? No, he's a pussy ass, hoe ass nigga that know if he saw me in real life by himself that I gobble him the fuck up. Now look at this dude already. Niggas that say they don't fight, but they got kids, they're fucking cowards. I spit in that nigga face and he won't pull no gun and kill nobody because you know you got children. Wow. And he know he'll get beat the fuck up playing straight with a nigga like me.
Straight up, Sanchez. And then that's why I didn't want to be reckless on your channel, bro. But that's why I did it when I came on. That's why I just said, well, fuck it, bro. Just meet up with me. What's up? And he like, nah, I don't want to meet up. All that shit. He's a pussy. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I heard that one. I heard that.
Hey, see,
like, damn, man, I'm.
I walked into.
What the fuck is going
on?
on?
These motherfuckers.
Holy shit. The hell was that?
You accidentally went back.
Oh shit, like something's up, man. Fuck. Oh man. Now the playback sound is fucked up. Say something. Fuck. Oh my god. What do I do?
Holy cows, OTW. The Hydra go out again?
No.
I'm gonna refresh.
They going there, bro, right now, man.
Mic check 1 2. Right now.
And you know, I don't really approve of this shit. You know, I want to smoke. I don't think niggas really want no smoke with me because, you know, I'm going in. I'm going ham. You know what I'm saying? I'm going all in on the nigga. You know, I would say I'm going to be on their ass, but they might like that. So I'm going to be on their neck.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can't tell a nigga to suck your dick or nothing no more because they might do it.
Yeah,
you gotta fight different. These things fight different. I'm telling
Where'd
you.
you get to? Is this the right part?
Nah, go ahead. Y'all got it, man. I'm fucking around. Y'all got it.
Oh, I think I backed up a bit.
Yeah, we just have.
Yeah, if you go to
listening to the
240,
sound.
my third or fourth
I
show,
think we were like
like
15 minutes in from.
No.
Yeah, there you
Okay.
go. That's probably good. I don't remember what was last up on the screen, but I know it's for like 20 minutes in from 225. So.
Okay.
Yeah, you echoing,
Yeah,
Major.
we hear you.
You got two pictures now on your screen. No, you talking about? I can't hear you nothing. Are you muted, Keith?
Fuck.
You know, you're targeted for sure. In 2019, I remember the first time joining your panel, and we were talking to some lady, and then you were talking about it was the green juice thing you was talking about, and then the next day you was on fire because you come to grips with the Luciferians and the Masons. Everyone was breathing down your neck, and you were so lit that day. It kind of let me know, okay, so this what it looks like. This is what I have to be aware of. And so when I'm seeing this, man, I swear, I don't know why it gives me this feeling like, Bobby, who paid you, bro? Like, was this your plan from the giddy up, yo?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, let me turn this down. So yeah, that's what I'm saying, T-Riggle. This was Bobby's plan from the whole beginning, from the whole jump. It wasn't about me. See, niggas thought that this shit was about me. Was in the beginning, people thought that this shit was about OG. It was only to you know, fuse bro Sanchez. It was only to cut down the motherfuckers who they felt like they saw us around him and sheltering him, and not in no fucked up way. It's all love, it's all respect. So what do? You divide, you conquer.
Yeah.
So that's what they thought. But Sanchez ain't no weak nigga. So you can't divide and conquer no way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Hey, let me get the screen share
Y'all
again.
ain't dropping them effects.
Look, and it's only natural. It's only natural to protect bro Sanchez. Who wouldn't? You know what I'm saying? He's one of the bright minds out here. Of course, we're going to band round him and we're going to make sure that nothing happens to him. That's just natural. Then people call it dick riding. You can kiss my ass with that. You know what I'm saying? We're protecting one of our own. And the more that we do that with each other, you know, this barrier you can't penetrate this barrier once we all do that as a whole. You know what I'm saying? And shouts out to you, bro. And Key and OG, you already know I got your back all the way.
Much love, bro. Key, let me get that screen share again. I think I found it right.
Yeah, you got it right.
Now you got it. Let me see.
You got the host right.
Now you got it.
You need to put it on your other one. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, put it on the top.
I got you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you and bro Sanchez, man, y'all do y'all thing, man. I want to get rid of this bullshit, man. So, oh yeah, your other, you got the host on your other.
Yeah, take it off the phone and put it on my computer.
That divide and conquer shit just got me thinking, because niggas was coming to me saying, OG Philly them be hating on you over there, and the whole time you the one with the fucking hate and the hating, y'all hating on my ass, and you got all my haters with you. That's what I'm saying though. If you look at the people on OG Philly channel and shit, man, I ain't got no problems with none of them like that. If anything, it'll challenge me on flat earth or some shit. niggas on his channel is encouraging him to adopt a nigga family and shit. See, that's what I'm saying. That's real hate. It's different than a nigga saying, Sanchez, that flat earth shit misleading our people. I think you in the way with that shit, bro. But it's different if a nigga just personally don't like you for whatever reason. That's different. And that's everybody over there with that nigga, man. Them is folks that bro, this the best thing ever happened to the community for real.
Facts. And to put up any family members of yours, even your girl, like you
That's
understand this is beyond whack. This you playing with fire, son. Like
you get your ass beat.
You playing with fire.
Like,
you shouldn't be doing none of this. And this lets me know, like, yeah, you ain't as grown as I think.
I want to touch this nigga, but niggas already like trying to make it like I'm some type of crazy person and shit. So that's why I just been being quiet. I haven't even been drinking, bro. I just been chilling because being here with y'all mean more to me. So if I had to stop drinking or if I had to, you know what I'm saying? This all the shit I've been going through behind this dumb shit, bro. Like I usually could drink and be comfortable and all this type of shit, but I gotta change how the fuck I am and all this type of shit.
And now the hell you don't. Guess what I do, Key? Man, this is what you do. Certain shows when you want to be serious and get your serious shit on, fuck it, I ain't drinking this day. Then certain shows, hey man, where your bottles at? What you we just drinking today, turning up. I do my shit like that. Like certain shows, you know I'm coming on some bullshit. The way the thumbnail look, the title is, you know, okay, this nigga ain't about to be serious. He about to roast. He probably drinking. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Hey, we gonna keep this shit popping, bro, because, man, I've been rocking with you. Shit, man, you ain't did shit wrong in my eyes, man. You ain't did shit but help me, so shit, I fuck with you, bro, and we ain't about to let no nigga like, especially no motherfucking sausage smoking ass nigga ain't about to come fucking come. That nigga smoke sausages, man.
Oh shit.
Yeah, let me play this video real quick.
Bobby a sausage
Oh,
smoking ass nigga, man.
God damn, nigga.
Man.
Here we go.
Yeah. How old was you when I met you?
That's all I wanted to share right there. Let me stop screen sharing. Because they say, you know, I didn't put out a video, but like I said, once I realized I was dealing with ignorant niggas, you know what I mean? Because my wife ain't on YouTube. She ain't a part of none of that. You know what I mean? She encouraged me to do what I want to do, but I could have been had this video out. But like I said, some people told me, don't worry my wife about it. We're a happy family. But I wanted to do just to prove that he's lying. Because basically he's saying I met her when she was a teen and her family signed her over to me, and that's all lies. But take the hope back here, you got it. I just wanted to share that video with the people.
No, he trying to say
I'm a family man.
Sanchez caping for OG, and OG met his wife when she was 15, and OG knew her parents and all that shit, which is bullshit. It's fucking lies, bro. Like, bro, OG wife ain't scared of me. She ain't scared of OG, nigga. She ain't scared of none of you niggas, nigga. She'll shoot any one of y'all niggas, nigga. And I ain't
my wife been licensed to carry for
I'm
like
telling you what the fuck I know, bro. Listen, that lady wants to be left the fuck alone. She wasn't no child.
Yeah.
When OG met her, she wants to be left alone, bro.
And that's my thing. Like, I'm gonna say I ain't even looking at the circumstances of how they met, because if a grown woman that's in a relationship right now telling people leave, you harassing at that point. My thing is this, man. I don't know Philly's situation, but if a person saying that they concerned with pedophiles, look how many pedophiles out here, y'all. We got, think about it. how you ain't really concerned with pedophiles for real. You just concerned with hating on Sanchez and hating on this flat power shit for real.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying? Because I never
Big
saw
fact.
you do one video about a pedophile in your life. So the only pedophile you concerned with is one that's in a beautiful relationship, that who the woman telling you to leave them the fuck alone. You're a weirdo. You harassing people. And you're driven by hate, man. You see what I'm saying? Now, the crazy thing about this whole situation is his best friend parted with Diddy. And everybody know Diddy is a pedo, a rapist, and all this allegedly. But see, if I bring up Diddy and get on Diddy head, but what about you, nigga? You got OG Philly around there. Every time I bring up a celebrity or something, but you got Phil. It's like, why you always trying to bring it back to me and this people in this community who in beautiful relationships and shit? Like, this shit's weird, man. I don't get that shit, dog. Like, that just show you that's some hating ass shit, man.
It is, brother. And for the record, I met my wife. She had her own car and own apartment. I met her at a gas station. I chased her down, brother. So you didn't. So everybody you know. She had her own car, her own insurance, her own apartment. I chased her down like a police. Beep, 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 beep. Pull over, flashing my lights.
Didn't know how old she
and I made
was.
it decision.
Found out how old she was when he got to the house. All that. He ain't know no daddy, none of that shit. This lady was like a grown woman, but she was just in her own shit. She just happened to be 19.
And the crazy thing about it is the dude that he got around him, his whole, like, the LGBTQ community is literally grooming our children to be trannies, she-males, and saying that they can choose their sex at a young age and shit. Them the people that's a direct threat to our fucking children's safety. And it's all in the schools. They got laws on it and shit. But you want to talk, but you sitting around, it's like, we can all talk about, you know, who you know what I'm saying, everybody flaws. See, my thing with Bobby is everybody embrace Bobby. And because we embrace Bobby, we embraced his weird ass community over there, which is the shit show that's ran by that damn she-male. And I'm embarrassed for trying to be cool with this nigga, man, because I see now.
Me too, bro.
Yeah.
Greedy Vegan left. Hey, Greedy Vegan, come back, man, because we got bro on here now, man, and Greedy was on here talking some real shit. And he just laid that shit out flat like it's supposed to be. Man, Bobby is just on some. Bobby's a sausage smoking ass nigga, you know. And when niggas smoke sausages, ain't no fire on the sausage. It's just heat on it, bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Spice, nigga, a whole lot of spice.
And like you said, we calling out all of them. You know what I mean? all of them that's going against the kids, not just one. You know, the church, the state, the government, the corporation, all of them.
Yeah, people though. Like he ain't got no modus operandi. He ain't got no modus operandi. Like, there's no. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Oh no, go ahead, bro.
No, I just need a few seconds.
I'm
just saying, look,
that's what happened. Go ahead, brother.
All right, people, right? What's Bobby like? What topics they talk about?
Bobby
nothing. Absolutely, no, this is how we're talking, right?
No, I'm gonna tell you. No, you asked. The topic they talked about. Bobby told Zay that he was circumcised.
Oh my God!
These the topics they speak about, right?
Yeah, you right though. Hey, look, guess what they call it, y'all? Check it out. They call it the shit show out the dark. Now check this out, right? I want if y'all gonna get this one. Now I see why it's called the shit show. Damn. Chili dog.
Hey, yo, look, Silence came, right? So Silence was talking about, I'm in the middle, with the boo. I said, Silence. He's talking about, they looking at my ass like, I said, nah, Bobby looking like you got a big old ass. Like,
no.
God damn, my nigga.
They're not talking about nothing. They're mad that we moving. The sign of a jealous nigga is like when you're moving and doing your thing, niggas will hate it. They not.
Yeah, they
And so
came over here like
he
we
got
was
to
some
figure out his
dope
way.
boys. That was like,
Yeah.
man, what them dope boys
You
doing
don't know
over
what he
there
want to
on
do.
21st Street? Let's infiltrate on them niggas. Cause Sanchez, man, you been listen, man, bro. I don't need to tell you this, but man, you been doing your thing, and we need to keep these motherfucking haters away who
Yeah.
trying to stop what you doing, bro. Because you've been helping the community. You've been helping me. I know. You know what I'm saying? You've been helping other
You put
people
too many
too, man.
niggas on for a nigga like that to
Fuck
allow
that
that type of parasite. And when he started talking parasite, look, when I told y'all that he versus Beelzebub, and I've been over there with them drinking fifths, right? So I'm gonna get blitzed out of my mind, blitz with y'all niggas, right? Because that's when the real nigga comes out on how he really feel about shit, how he talks to females. That's gonna really come out. I'm a happy-go-lucky drunk that just likes the fisticuffs. Like that's why I grew up. I grew up fighting, getting blitzed with the homies, and hollering at bitches. That's what we did. That was our sport after high school, right? So when we're doing that and I'm blitzed over there, right? Over there, when I first hopped over, they pan. I told y'all that they was watching this niggas, they try on dresses. As soon as I caught them doing that about a year and some change ago, ED, Q, the Saint, Bobby, all them, they was over there early one month. They was just letting everybody up, right? Because they just let anybody on the panel. They stopped doing that shit and they keep them cameras off. They do not turn them on for about, a year and some change ago, right? It's reasons for that. And that thing was 70-30 daughter / sister / older sister or whatever, right? This nigga Bobby was talking filthy to them chicks at that whatchamacallit, right? And 70-30 was just letting him talk to the women in his family, whether they were prostitutes. Some of them, I guess, was his sister or daughter. One of them walked past the screen and Bobby tried to get at him. This nigga Bobby's supposed to have a wife and 5 kids. What you doing at all in any situation trying to get at another female, period, in real life or fake life? And so that's what triggers certain things with me. But yeah, go ahead.
You gotta realize Bobby stay on that show for 12 hours, late night talking sexual with trannies and all kind of women and shit. But you gotta
like
and shit.
And
And
then
they be
he's
saying,
trying to be. No, go ahead, Sanchez. My bad.
But no, you're right. They go into a lot of graphic conversations like putting pills in your butt and stuff. Yep.
Yeah, stuff like that, man. And then he trying to be a mixture. I'm telling y'all, he think he a Keychaz baby. He a mixture between Sanchez and Key, man. He think he takes some shit from you and he try to be aggressive what he think like me, but that's not me. I'm not like that, bro.
He try to parasite off everybody's energy.
That's not me. I'm not like that. I never got into it with a female on this motherfucker. Y'all can say that shit all y'all want to. I never got into it with no female, bro. I don't get into it with a female because I got a lady in the bed. So if my lady hear me in here arguing with a female, she gonna be like, nigga, you ain't on YouTube. What the fuck you arguing with
see
this
that
bitch about? I got a
and
real
you
woman,
see
bro.
how you talk to women.
You
See how when a woman has a difference of opinion at that nigga Barbie night.
My lady's listening right now.
Listen. All he do is talk about the way that female looks in the chat or in real or on the panel. He never goes into the topic. That's the personality of a gay nigga. This is the personality of a gay nigga.
This is what I'm trying to tell you why he's trying to be me, because look, if I want another female, I can have one. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Nigga, I'm a real nigga. That nigga talk a lot of shit. He can't do a lot of shit. Like Sanchez told y'all, he just talk a lot of shit. He can't do a lot of shit. If I wanted another female, I'll introduce her to my lady. I'll be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? That's just what type of nigga I am, bro. But don't get mad at me or don't try to go no type of way with me. I don't go no way with y'all about the way y'all feel or whatever type of shit. Like, Bobby's a whole nigga, bro. And Bobby's a fake and a fraud. He like Dolomite. Look up Dolomite. Research Dolomite. That's Bobby. Way
Bobby
down
ain't no
in
Dolomite.
the jungle deep.
No, Bobby ain't no Dolomite. Dolomite's a real pimp, though. Dolomite was a real pimp, though.
Yeah. Hey, Sanchez, man, let this nigga have it, bro. Fuck this nigga, man.
Oh, shit. Oh, man.
This nigga's a bitch, man.
Is this right here, right? I'm going to tell you something, right? I didn't like when they was joking on my nigga, me, myself situation. I never liked that shit. I don't stand by that at all. See,
I can see you didn't like that shit. Yeah, but I'm cold.
But I don't. But see, niggas can joke on my hands being chopped off.
I never
like
liked
the
that
roast.
shit either.
Now look,
I never liked that shit either
look,
because
though,
guess what? I don't look at that shit when I look at me myself. I just feel that nigga energy that he get to me when he sitting there talking. And that's how I am with everybody. But my bad, bro, Sanchez, you got it. I don't want to cut you. Nigga, this your channel, nigga. You say what the fuck you want to say, bro.
It show you what kind of nigga he is, that you would talk about a nigga missing his hands or a nigga missing his legs, but you won't talk about your homie missing his manhood, missing his psychological.
Come on, bro. Say that
missing
shit.
his proper psychology and shit, missing his
This nigga's
testosterone.
confused, bro. He got a deep spirit inside his ass, bro.
He got a Jezebel spirit in him, bro. That shit come at women. How your homie get it though?
You know what I'm
I
saying?
told y'all, yeah, I told y'all, peep that shit. It's like any grown man that want to talk about how a woman look because you disagree with her opinion about whatever the topic is. It's like, oh, that's a gay nigga. I knew that shit from jump. I knew that shit years ago. But it's like y'all come, everybody learns at their own pace. And so now we here. So now it's all about progressing. And anybody going over to that channel and coming back and telling us what they had to say, you part of the problem. Anybody that's not reporting that shit and disliking and unliking and unsubscribing, you're part of the problem. Stop talking about what that nigga had to say on his chat in our chat. I want to verbalize that from this point on. No one cares about what that filth has to say.
Hey,
Unless
my
you gonna
brother.
put the panel and
Hey,
talk
look.
about it. But yeah, keep it out the chat. Yeah, we don't
Hey,
care.
look. I got my
Unsubscribe.
brother Metal Face. I want my brother Metal Face to come up on the chat because him and OG, man, they orchestrated some shit that was powerful to this shit. Man, they got the recording of Bobby describing to Zay what his dick looked like, man. Hey, man, that was powerful. That was powerful. Bobby can't come back from that shit. Bro, you
And he's
can't
done it
never
multiple
come
times.
back
He's
from
done it
that shit.
multiple times. Yeah.
Bro, you made Zay moist on live TV, nigga.
On purpose. On
Bro,
purpose.
you
I
can't never
can't
come back from
believe
that shit.
you saying that, Key. That's
No, I'm telling the truth on this weird ass nigga. You told Zay with your dick. He told Zay he wasn't circumcised.
Oh man.
He said, nigga, his dick go to the left and it's not
Multiple
circumcised.
times.
Yeah,
So,
Multiple times,
listen,
bro.
I played it
So
on my
listen.
channel. I got it.
So are you telling me?
I'm gonna let OG play this shit. I'm gonna give
Hey,
OG man, I'll let OG play
hey,
this
Keith, this
shit.
gonna be a one-liner. This is the punchline of the year, right? He gave a she-male details. They was talking, so it was details. Now watch this. The details is the dick tales, the dick stories, but you giving them the details. Now see, he gonna make me fuck around and make a whole. I'm gonna have to get that Kendrick Lamar beat and go in on this nigga
Bro,
now.
I got some shit for you, bro. I go into bro,
But
cause
they
I
not
go
like
in
us. They
on
are not.
Bobby. Bro,
They
I
not
go
like
in
us,
on
right?
Bobby. I got some shit for you. Man, take this shit, bro, and run with it, bro. Like, shit, we on the same team. If I gotta hand that bitch off and you run that bitch in, I don't give a fuck, nigga, cause it's flat power all motherfucking day.
Key. The
Yeah.
funniest thing is when OG brought up Bobby's album and his tracks and the name of the tracks.
Yeah, cause I put this nigga in front of.
All right. So let's move on to something else. No, I was thinking yesterday. Was it yesterday? I got something. Hold on. I'm looking. Where are you, man? This.
Welcome to the Gnostic Chats, the podcast where we explore the depths of consciousness and the mystery of the mind. In this channel, we'll delve into the fascinating realms and blend wisdom from ancient times to modern insight to uncover the secret of human consciousness. From understanding the power of mind to exploring holistic approaches to health, join us on a journey to self-discovery and enlightenment. Ready to expand your awareness and nourish your soul as we embark on an odyssey of wisdom and transformative conversations. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, James, for being here, of course.
Oh, yeah. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So welcome back to another chat. Today we have James True. We are going to discuss some of his fantastic works. 7 different books out there. He's a philosopher, although he doesn't call himself that. I believe he calls himself a sophist. And he's a software engineer. He's developed things for a few different companies out there, which we could probably dive into in a little bit. But it's quite a repertoire of things, an artist and a philosopher of mind, and now he's working with the computers. But what I wanted to bring you on to talk about mainly was just like your illustrious career and this latest book that you brought out here, the Black Eye Club, which I went through a second time just to make sure I had some of the stuff down. These characters in the book, I wanted to ask you about, where do you get some of your inspiration for some of these characters? It almost sounds like it could be maybe personal things that you maybe bring in. It just sounded like in the book it was a lot of your ideas of how you express, you see the world. And I'm not sure if that's what you were going for with that. Was that part of the directive when you were writing?
Yeah. The Black Eye Club is only my second sci-fi novel. And the other 5 books, although they certainly have a lot of short story and narrative in them, none of them have been constructed in a start to finish way. Typically, it's been each chapter has been a new idea that I've explored, which I like that format. And I found it challenging to be able to hold a note the entire length of the book, where the character has a motivation and that unfolds. And even as it being a form of philosophical exposition, there's the concept of the dialogues, which is a way of delivering a philosophical ideas through the conversations with, Hamlet and Horatio, or, Socrates and Plato and whatnot. And so it seeing the tool of writing as an ability to have a philosophical dialogue is definitely a new trick to me that I'm really, really into a lot. So yeah, I hope that it fluidly catches. My big concern is that people feel that maybe because it's a fiction, that would somehow take away from those ideas. But that now we're getting in the quagmire of what is reality anyway, and what I even consider to be true. So yeah, it's been a journey for me as an artist to switch from philosophical inquiry into just out and out just science fiction, but still maintaining the same kind of notes.
Right. Yeah, I thought the book was like educational, even although you were into the science fiction, there was still a lot of stuff you could go and check on for, like, to see that what you were saying was actually researched, So I thought it was very cool, the interplay between the characters. Like I said, yeah, Lita, her character was awesome. Buddy, Rose. I mean, yeah. So these characters, do any of them have relevance or reference from people directly in your life that you've tried to add into your books, or is it just all off the top, just a creative process?
Well, it's definitely both. And I think the clearest direction is that anything I intentionally try and do usually doesn't work out so well. And that along the way of trying to intentionally do something, a lot of other things come out instead. And if I just learn to be comfortable as I hold my brush, then I don't have to stick to honoring the exact nature of the character versus honoring the exact nature of something that maybe even I've been through before, but could be framed from a different perspective. So I think that it's hard for me to write at all about anything that doesn't have some sort of human moment that I'm going back to. But then the loyalty to the characters, the names, the stance even is more dictated by the art itself of writing. And so there's certain words, for example, as a live streamer, I can say certain words because there's a visual thing. But if I'm writing a word to you, because I don't say it, you hear it in your mind, certain words are not going to work as well. Certain textures are going to be better expressed. So a lot of my writing, I don't really describe the characters so much. I want you to hallucinate that, but I have to put in the things that require the character to feel valid to me. And so I end up having to do a lot of writing that I don't want to do, but I think is necessary to really show you, the reader, hopefully, why this is a very human decision, that they're making and things. And then, like with any art, if you keep playing with the palette enough, the color, you were going for a mustardy kind of a tone, but it turns out the marmalades is just so much more where you needed to be, and you didn't really know that, So I think that part of the thing that makes you an artist is your ability to let that authentically adapt you without feeling guilt. Like, there's nothing wrong with guilt, but it's like if you don't feel confident as the art is changing you, then you may not end up with marmalade. The mustard may turn into a brownish sort of pea soup that isn't you, but because you didn't have faith in the process, you weren't able to find the marmalade tone, if that makes sense. So it's a delicate balance, you know?
Yeah. I was just thinking how usually like the best autobiographies are the ones where they're the truest to themselves and getting that right color, right? Finding their true color in their writing. And so this idea in the book, the way we see, I know this is big for you, and it was one thing that I really wanted to get on to the topic of the melanin and all these different points that you bring into this idea of how we render reality, how it's a hallucination. Basically, I like to think of it as creative play at the highest level, because it's just a we're all just using these icons that we see in our interface, and then we render into that a reality that we all can muster up the courage to walk into, and so this idea of the relay, can you go through some of how you see we're hallucinating the reality?
I think your ability to understand how much you hallucinate reality is directly proportional to your ability to be comfortable with the fact that you are hallucinating reality. And so I'm answering the question by saying I don't think that I am capable of even fathoming just how deeply I hallucinate my reality, and I've written a book about it. I think it's about us taking enough confidence in ourselves to be able to submerge down into the depth of the hallucination and to go as deep as we can and not forget who we are. This really seems to be more the limitations we have with how much we're hallucinating. So to answer your question, I think it's more profound than we think. And I think at a very fundamental zygote level, if you look at some of the work that we've discussed, some of it's in the book, of the simplistic architecture of a skin cell already has the pure immanence of consciousness inside of it, and that its ability to hallucinate the world is already at play on a singular cellular level. It's a way of probing our environment. The closest thing we could say to it is kind of a sonar, but on a five-dimensional, like emotional kind of a thing. Sorry, this is my reminder to have. And so the hallucination has to take place, I think, even from the very first zygote cell that we start as at an early creation. So we build our cosmology before we have grown eyes. So it would be quite appropriate, in my opinion, that the entire cosmos that we see it is really pure hallucination. What we see is simply the quantum workings that really provide the most efficient ability to navigate through a terrain that we're otherwise blind to. But we get cues from the people that we're born into. I was born into my mother's cosmology, like she gave me this entire world, and slowly, like an epidermis, she's becoming smaller and I'm becoming larger, and they never really leave. So even my core reality is based on someone, not just my mother, but my grandmother, I've never met, and I have no idea how much she was hallucinating too. And that the epigenetically, I would have to be taught through the cerebrum, like the very back of our brain down here is actually gonna say, your grandmother says to think about this like a tree, and it's gonna have the shape. I don't mean the lexical language, although that's a part of it, but just more of the way that we approach a tree is to consider that this is the thing we call the tree, this is the stuff we call the soil, this is the stuff we call the air, these are the things we call the acorns. And even that is a pretty massive hallucination if you really think about it, even scientifically. I could show you that really is. If you break down what's actually happening with the cells, there's no clear like border that says, hey, this is the edge of the acorn. You've now entered into the evaporated essence of what used to be acorn, mixing with the evaporated essence of the tannins that are just outside the outer ecosphere of that acorn, which then get to the atmosphere. And even, we've binaried that process a lot. And we're just not really able to stop doing that, I think, or at least easily be able to stop doing that.
Right. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like the space of where something begins and ends, like even like a cup, you've got an empty space where you can fill a cup up with water, but the water's never really entering that cup. It's just filling a space you've provided. So yeah, that is a very interesting idea. Trying to think where you had said something and I totally misplaced it, but
well, we do tend to think that these are trivial matters, and the only reason why they're trivial is because they've just been so ingrained for generations by our forefathers that we mistake trivial for consistency.
Right.
Right.
Right. The thing you said that I'm remembering now was how your grandmother and such, the memory being passed on from generations. And are you familiar with the fact that like women, their ovum, they get what they get inside of the womb, so their eggs are developed within their mother, so your egg is developed within your grandmother, and this lineage goes back in that sense. And so it's crazy how, like you said, the cells, they have their own memory, they have their own little conscious being of wanting to be the best little cell they can be, or whatever they've been told that they are. And so it's very interesting to think this idea of like how you brought up thought before, and your first thought was what got you going. That zygote had a memory or a thought that it needed to do, and it plays it out as been told or directed. And yeah, no, it's an amazing thought, and that's what made me think of the epigenetics of the lineage of the mother, the grandmother, and it's just an infinitum there.
Yeah, the two things on that: the mitochondrial DNA ancestry really does take us back to a conceptual mitochondrial Eve and a mitochondrial Adam, even that the same XY has been able to pass on through the same. And it's purely more, I mean, I don't mind us calling it destiny, but I'm saying that if we were to create our own XY community, that we would naturally find over time, just through survival mechanisms, that a certain mitochondrial strain existed and never died, while all the others changed and mutated. So in a way, death really is more about remembering that the epigenetical Eve is simply the oldest memory that you have. And because we understand life the way we do, we don't fully look at the mitochondrial Eve as being a living entity, because at no point has the mitochondrial Eve ever been alive. She's just been a collection of the mitochondrial DNA. I don't mean to keep saying mitochondrial. It's just that there's nucleic DNA and there's mitochondrial DNA.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Yeah, and so both of us have these different versions of ancestors, but when you take them back, not only do we have our grandmother's grandmother's grandmother, we also have this mitochondrial Eve who's also speaking out to us. And so it really does become necessary to look back at Thoth and consider that the first time your zygote's able to pull water from the outside, it's able to find potassium or sodium inside that water and use it to store memory, limbic fingerprints. It's not even really memory. It's a limbic fingerprint of something that happened to you before. And we have no way in science, even now, of looking at the engrams in your brain and unvolving them and said, oh, this is where you learned this specific thing. It's more about, we see the shadow of learning. We don't see the shape that was actually there. So I would argue that the fact that all moments in time are built on memory really does take the entire empirical system that we've been clinging to and make it completely invalid, because we actually hold no empirical way of even checking ourselves to see, is what I'm hallucinating that I remembered actually what I remembered? And the answer is clearly no. It's clearly no. And it's an assumption we make. And that assumption has built a great big world. And that great big world has giant cracks and holes, and it's falling apart because those Legos are not necessarily getting us where our creative playground needs us to go. And so we need to come up with a different kind of block, a different kind of quantum Lego, so to speak.
Right.
And I think that's what this belief stuff is, this hallucination, belief, lying, placebo, healing powers. All of these things are instead of healing powers, we need to call unhealing powers, is a whole other realm of science, right? And that all those things are the exact same thing. It's the ability to put out not just like a song, like oh, but an emotional oh, and that emotional oh, it can be so potent that it would heal you or destroy you. We have that in our language all the time, but because we haven't fully tapped into this essence yet, we tend to get lost in the actual letters or the sounds themselves. So, we're getting there,
right?
But most of it's an illusion of the illusion itself. So we've created our own hallucination of the fact that we're hallucinating to bring us back to this steady state that we're not hallucinating. And guys, we're totally hallucinating, but we're not hallucinating about the fact that we're fucking hallucinating. And if you look at that, that's just 3. And so think about that. If our grandmother was doing that, then we are hallucinating that we're not hallucinating, that we're hallucinating, that we're not hallucinating, that we're hallucinating, that we're not hallucinating. And it's, you get it.
It's a fantastic oscillation.
Yeah, it is.
It's like ancient PTSD, right? Like it's a form of PTSD that we all are trying to cope with. And,
it's a motor. Yeah, I love it. It's the Pistons, PTSD, and your cell is constantly saying, and it says it. It literally says, I am, because the RNA transcription is happening so fast. And so the process of writing who the cell is the process of recording a record of it, which is why Thoth is such a powerful archetype. That it's so amazing that we have this creature in our mind the whole time, but this is the exact process. The RNA process is the ibis going, and anytime it feels angst, it may be more apt to miss. And if it misses, it gets to miss in a positive or a negative way. It gets to miss in a, oh, I missed that part, but I'm sure it was something shitty about how awful the world is. That would be one way of thothing the hallucination. The other way would be, oh, I missed that part, but I'm sure it was something about how amazing and beautiful this place is. And so the fill-in, the fill-in is our placebo. It is our ability to hallucinate. And that fill-in seems to come from a different vibe that we emanate from our nucleus. So the mitochondria would be the world talking to the nucleus, and the nucleus would be the nucleus talking to the world. So inside of each cell, you have two different associated personalities. One is if I'm the white piece on the chessboard, and the other is if, well, I'm the black piece on the chessboard. So the nucleus versus the mitochondria is the drama that we have to make I love what you're saying, this trauma motor is that juxtaposition, which I think allows us to create the menagerie. And that menagerie creates the focus. The focus is the witness is the sheen or the melon of consciousness. And we recognize that as being alive. Even when it's a tiny skin cell that's been decoupled from the rest of itself, you're looking at an entity that has goals, it has motivation, and all those things are just a fractal of I am. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense, really.
Right. The placebo, there's a book Joe Dispenza wrote called You Are the Placebo. It's pretty good. And then this idea that you're expressing is totally throughout the book itself, but it's amazing, this power of belief, your book, the technology of belief. Can we breach some of this? Like what was your main reasoning to get this book out to the world?
So the technology of belief is not just explaining what placebo is, but showing how it's actually placed into gear and given torque. And it's illustrated through all of these different stories that some are true, some are mythology. Most of them, almost all of them, are simply just pointed back at this power of torque. And if you have a certain eminence to get something done, you can warp space and time to accomplish that. Let's say, for example, that you wanted to end someone's life. I'm saying this because this happens all the time in crime. You're watching the pure raw magic of torque. I'm so angry at you, says someone, that they take a gun and shoot the other person. The torque of that belief is so strong that they're able to warp time and space around them because of how strongly they believe that their life depends on them shooting this gun in a certain vector at a certain point. And that belief has such potency that it ends up killing an entire universe of this other person. And in order for you to kill that other universe, you would have to take your torque and send it into that universe and convince all of the cells inside that universe that its life was over and that there was nothing it could do to save itself, as if gravity itself that was holding that universe together had ceased to exist. So you'd need some type of powerful magic that would invoke such a stringent, powerful injection through a silvery, metallical objects tend to hold torque more. And so the book is trying to just show you the essence and the science of how this works, of why death works, of why murder actually happens, but more importantly, why the placebo of healing does too. And so we have to have a less than sunshine approach to placebo. We have to look at it in a more gritty way as a kind of lying. And it's not a free energy device. That in order for me to end your life, in this example, I am ending my life too. The identity of who I was has stopped. I am now a fugitive because my own body is rejecting me because of what I did to another member, right? So my universe collapses upon itself. And my freedom, my autonomy, my ability to gather resources, all the trust that I find in my universe is gone. And I hallucinate that transaction. and it looks like the law. It looks like the wanted poster. It looks like a parole hearing. It looks like a court. All those things are just the amino acid chains that are changing place in my evocation of my universe requires that this guy dies so that I can proliferate. And so that transaction happens. Same thing when a mother lifts up a fucking Buick to pull it off of her baby when there's a fire. The adrenaline is ripping every single muscle, convincing it that it holds a vector to do more than anything else has ever been done. And she does it. But she probably loses 4 years of her life. That the universe doesn't reject her for that, but her adrenals pulled so much torque through that circuit that the filament gets burned more. So she ends up with a kind of what we would call PTSD, is really more about the knocks in our engine. It's not that killing, this sounds so evil, I'm sorry, but it's not that killing someone gives you PTSD. It's that the guilt and shame of the transaction that's wrapped around you killing someone has PTSD. Because there's a way on a quickening samurai moonlight night between two consenting adults where you could take someone's life with a sword and go home and fuck and eat a good meal and feel great for the rest of your life, right? So it's showing you the truth of what the real stuff is. The real stuff is this torque. The real stuff is this belief. It's a technology of belief, which is why I named the book that, because if we reject that it's a free energy device, if we embrace the fact that it's lying, we can really start to get our hands dirty and greasy and take a look at how this stuff works. And so the book just tries to kind of stab at that in a whole bunch of different ways.
Yeah, I like that the torque, if people are struggling with the idea of it, imagine you're on your way to get somewhere very important and you're just in the middle of traffic and you really need to get somewhere. Your torque is going to start kicking in and you're going to behave differently than you normally would. You might start yelling at things and people or cussing at people that you normally would never do, and that's torque taking over. That's
Yep.
That's the reptile stepping in, right? As you would say that would be the reptile, right?
It is, and it's a strategic move that we make. We choke ourselves because we know that we'll start to fight. We'll start to kick for air. It's no different than when you pull the bit of the horse. Are you kick the horse in the kidneys? I hate to say it, but I mean that's the idea. Is you move this thing with a compression and a release. And so we invoke our reptile more than we never admit it because we live in a society where we're not supposed to admit that. But we literally invoke our reptile every day. We do it to get something done. And so it becomes it's always been a very necessary engine that we have. And our neocortex will try and convince and tell our reptile the right story to invoke the right kinds of feelings that allow the reptile to do the dirty work that's necessary to get the job done. And then our mammal recovers from owning all of the actions that it did and trying to resolve those things because it's not itself. This is what I was talking about earlier. You are not, I get that we think you're yourself and you have this body and that the rest of the world is not you, but the rest of the world is your mitochondria hallucinating and you is your nucleus hallucinating. And the two of you have to be the same. You two are completely wrapped up together. And when we can have that realization, our hallucination changes. We switch from objective reality and we become a living universe of self. There's no objective reality because we understand what reality really is. There's no shallow end. We've been hallucinating the shallow end the whole time. There's no bottom. We needed a bottom because frankly, it freaks us the fuck out. And we're living in colonies where we've told ourselves, oh, we have a bottom over here and it's great. It's the greatest bottom ever. And that's not the case. And as some of us get too shamany, we go out too deep and we start to say, there's no fucking bottom. And we try and come back. And the reef says, dude, we do not like you telling us that there's no bottom. And so, you go out and you find another reef that has just a deeper bottom. And so even this is just, if you break it down to a singular cellular skin cell, this is the skin cell saying, hey, I'm going to try and go over here. Can I survive over here? Can I live over here? And it'll couple with or decouple with its environment as necessary, as long as its hallucination feels engaged. It seems like consciousness really is just an engagement. When we check out, when we become bored, we actually have the ability to die. I don't think we fully embrace that. You see this sometimes in hospice, though, that there's a willing state of surrender. And that happens at accident scenes, but more importantly, it happens in addiction. It happens in an argument. It happens in a relationship. It happens in a journey. It happens if you're trying to do something and you realize halfway through, this isn't even who I am. I don't even want this. And then you're like, but I don't want to lose all those calories. And you're like, but it's not who I am. Even that, all these things are just showing you this texture of torque, this terrain of torque. It's not tangible, right? It's like a pixel or a voxel that's imbued with meaning, or it's not imbued with meaning. So it seems like life is more like that. It's like a holodeck of meanings, and where we stand gives us a certain meaning. And so vibe is the alchemy of space. If you really consider what space is, our ability to move about this planet is our ability to alchemize a vibe from a different voxel, from a different pixel space, and just feel that. And this is the closest as we can get to rendering God, because we would have to imagine that every voxel is hallucinating in the same liquid. And it's just, the resolution is so profound that we can't even fathom that, which is why I'm saying there's no bottom. There's no bottom because we cannot fathom that far,
Haven't created it yet. Haven't used our imagination. We haven't pretended it, right? We haven't.
So I think we pretend it. I think we do pretend it, but we haven't found the canvas border. It doesn't seem to be an end to it. And I think that if we ever were to be able to find the end of it, we would be in trouble and we would stop growing, much like a fish would only grow within a certain space. So, this is why I think the Aztec had like a 52 years of consciousness, and then they just kind of reset themselves. And the pagans more had like a 7-day kind of consciousness where, their entire being was just 7 days. And then if it's fucking cold and then it's fucking warm, but it's 7 days. And you're just looking at this is the best you can hallucinate. So you're going to hallucinate a fish tank that has 7 days in it. And so we're at 365.4 every 400 years, believe it or not, you have to change another 4 minutes. So even our leap year isn't even correct with every 4 years, that every 400 years, you have to do something else. So I think that we're looking at the voxels growing with us. The resolution, I don't know if it's the sun or the corona, I don't know what the fuck it is, but it does seem that the resolution is self-filling, because if we go back to earlier forms of consciousness, it's just much more objective, it's much more static, it's much more simplistic, kind of a thing, but we're still seem to be living in the same mix. So it's like a fractal, that like a ripples, it seems to, this voxel state I'm talking about, it seems to, each voxel can become a trillion voxels simply by staring at it, simply by putting your attention into this pixel. That pixel could turn into 70 pixels. And then as soon as you let go, if enough people forget that pixels, the voxel shrinks and it goes back into nothing. I think a lot about this a lot. I never get to talk about it because it just sounds so fucking out there. But this is why I think we know things like Saturn. Like Saturn is far enough away that everyone can see it. And it's hard enough to see where people have to look hard. So it's a certain kind of vibration that has a certain kind of a name that everyone can access from the same point, because in the voxel terrain, it's a space that connects all things. It's like a node. A node would be like on a computer node where different things would, like Saturn just happens to be a node that touches all other nodes, where other nodes are more like in neighborhoods. So James True is a neighborhood of a cul-de-sac of a neighborhood of a cul-de-sac of another node, but all those nodes are right off the node called Saturn. And it's inside this texture, this terrain of belief, right? Because if you're going to memorize the word Saturn, especially if you're going to do it for 200,000 years inside your cerebellum, then that would have to be a thoroughfare inside this other dimension that all of us seem to be touching.
Connected to.
Yeah, so Saturn is more real than you or me. But when we start to look at this belief terrain I'm talking about, this other kind of a place,
Yeah, it's like just thinking about, or the imagery made me think neural circuits in your brain, like they're all connected in a way. They even say there's like some type of magnetic rope that keeps all of the planets together or whatever. I'm not so sure any of that because I'm sitting here on this ground, but the idea there just made me think about the interconnections between our gut to our brain. Everything's kind of got these little circuits that run off of am I okay or not, and then you have to like kind of, this circuit has to tell the other one or whatever have you that this one's doing this, or and then you collectively come together and make a decision.
So right now there's a James True constellation inside your brain, and those neurons fire when that name comes up, or when you think about me, you create planets that orbit around that constellation James True inside your brain. And the orbit is your focus. That's your just where your attention is. But the constellation is the real life mitochondrial pixels or voxels that you've laid space for. Because you and because everyone else has a constellation, I mean, not everyone else, but everyone else who knows me also has a constellation of James True, then we could look at that constellation and see what commonalities are there and pull that and use it as a map to the world. But I don't mean the commonalities of James True. I'm talking about the commonalities of each of our constellations, because the commonality inside neurologically of the constellation James True is going to be one of 7 neurological depths, like in the skin. Some memories are deeper, that's like on the 7th layer, and some are real shallow. And we tend to, I don't think we truly know this, but we speculate that maybe the deeper memories seem to be more important, that we consider them more important, so we plant them. That's a speculation. We don't know if that's the case. But if we understand that the binary signal of James True is going to be a 7-bit depth across a certain neuron tree that maybe has, I'm just making this up, 126 branches. And so that 126 branches would be a depth of 1 to 7 for each branch. So I've just kind of given you an address, a constellational address of James True that would be, 767116111 128 times. And that would show you what this constellation would look like. And that if anyone else was to experience James True, if we could start to compare our brain atlases together like this, I think we'd unlock this new terrain. I think we'd see what this new terrain looks like. Now, right now, we just unlocked one brain. Like we've just, and it took so many fucking supercomputers to do. It's called the Brain Atlas Project, and it's probably not done, but the systemic process or procedure for it's been done, and it's huge. It's way beyond our capability to even look at yet. But just the fact that we could even map it is really been quite a feat. We've been doing that with what we're calling the rabies virus, by the way. We've been doing that using this little algorithm. And that algorithm is so minute and precise that we're able to run it through the constellation trees and receive a result. It's like a bioluminescent, it's like radioactive, but it's like a bioluminescent marker. That marker can be seen from a certain trajectory. All the neurons appear and they show you the depth through the, anyway, all that to say, I think we're getting there because we're hallucinating the ability that we could understand our entire brain tree. It's such a intricately large thing that I don't think we've been able to hold the belief that we could understand that. Only now can we understand that. And we can't yet understand how could we compare 2 of those. Like that is just, oh, fuck. But you can imagine through Moore's law or just through the progress of ripples that we may be able to do that maybe one day. And if we could, it would just simply show you, I think the universe would create this other epidermis that simply would have that depth. And then we would fill it with whatever crustaceans or deep sea anemones we needed to hallucinate that would show us source reality in a more comfortable first and accurate second way, because those seem to be the 2 things that drive our torque of belief most. It's not the truth. It's is it comfortable and does it work? That seems to be the priority that we use for truth finding across all fields, science, all of them. It seems to be, is this comfortable and does it kind of work? That's really all we require anyway. So we're not building a map of truth anyway. So you're muted.
It does seem, yeah, you're right. That does seem that way though, where truth is no longer in the room. It's more or less comfort. People are not looking for actual truth. They think that that's what they're after, but they're actually just looking to be comfortable in their space.
Yeah, and it's always been that way. I think that you and I, when we were young, we just hallucinated that the world wasn't that way. And then as we grew up, we noticed it, but a lot of people just haven't noticed it yet. So it's almost like a default belief that we have to have just so we're comfortable in the world, is that we think, well, yeah, everyone's out to find out the truth, and that's really what we're all about. And that makes us trust each other more. So
yep, it's better to have someone in the room that wants truth than to be deceived, to deceive you, I guess, right?
I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day because, like, we're taught to smile to each other because smiling is supposed to alleviate the concept that maybe this person is dangerous. But in the wild, to show your teeth to someone is to say, I'm a formidable opponent, and I feel threatened by you, and I'm going to stop your digestive process by sending a vibe that right now you need to be in sympathetic mode because this is fight, flight, danger. And so, but we're taught that we should smile at each other. And so, so I think that if we really unwrap that, really the smiling person is the one that is nervous because they understand the truth of the world. And so they kind of smile more because then we're like, I know a bunch of you are fucking psychopaths and any of you are going to, I think that really is what we're showing each other. And that's okay, by the way. I actually think that, so first of all, I don't think the world's broken. But second of all, I think that if you were to live in a world where people knew that it was the jungle, I think for the first couple of weeks, it'd be like really hard. Like it'd be, oh my God, fuck it. But after a while, I think it'd get to be fun. I think we'd enjoy that. If we actually knew that, no, your third grade teacher is probably lying to you. Why do you think she might lie to you? And then for you at 8 years old, you're already starting to think about maybe because you had a bad day or because, you know, that's going to get us so much farther if we could just, you know, really, really be in touch with that. Because instead we tend to believe the opposite, that no one ever lies, and George Washington and, you know, cut down the cherry tree, all that stuff. It's, yeah.
No, yeah,
but
definitely.
That's not comfortable for people. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. It's yeah, whenever you have the friend that coddles you, or the friend that tells you how it is, sometimes you don't even call that friend that will tell you how it is. And based on you not wanting to know, you don't want the truth. You want somebody to make you feel good, not to make you realize what you did was wrong or yada yada, you know. So it's definitely interesting how people tend to lean towards comfort over truth. Your book on the Ark of Baphomet, it seems to be a book centering around finding compassion for this world around you. Would you agree with that?
I think that really helps to, the more comfortable you are, the more parasympathetic you are. So your body enters into a state where it's like, hey, let's make saliva. Let's urinate. Let's eat. Let's digest things. That this state has a much, you're dilated more to receive information that you might otherwise find tricky or hard to swallow. So anytime you're in learning mode, you need to be in parasympathetic mode. You need to really be into that state. So anytime you can find compassion for someone, you tend to is almost always the same as disarming them. It's not that someone is not dangerous. Someone is only dangerous when you cannot predict their behavior. If you can predict someone's behavior, they're actually not dangerous. And so we equate danger a lot of times with the ability to cause harm. But the ability to cause harm is a very different construct that's under the branch of predictable versus non-predictable behavior, right? So a 4-year-old child could electrocute a 600-pound gorilla. It's very possible, and it would require very little effort for the 4-year-old to do that. This is really about the predictability of the behavior. And so if we want to see deeper into the world, we need to be more comfortable. And so if you look at compassionating as a kind of sonar where you're using it to probe the depth of why someone is behaving the way they are, then you relinquish their ability to be unpredictable. And in that case, they become less dangerous, which puts you into a parasympathetic state, which allows you to digest them more completely, which makes you safer, which ends up kind of regulating everyone around you to digest more and be a little bit less, on their guard. And that's how you pollinate or depollinate the world. So to me, genius, understanding, creativity, symbiosis, success, everything is tied to compassion. Every single thing is tied to compassion, your ability to empathize with someone in a deep, meaningful way, no matter how evil you think they are, no matter how nasty you think they are, for you to place yourself inside their wetsuit and be them becomes you first accept them, you see them as human, you like them even, you love their motivations, and now you're understanding why they're behaving that way. And you literally, all your opponents just turn to dust because they're not opponents anymore. They're people that have a motivation that's geared on a certain limbic history. And quite frankly, it makes sense to you now. And so they become disarmed simply because you know where their motivations are going to be, and you know whose neck they're going to try and cut next based on where they're at right now.
Yeah, you expressed this idea of compassionating things without also giving consent. And I thought that was a profound way of putting it, for sure. Could you elaborate on that idea?
Yeah, it's because we were talking about earlier about how the resolution of the world changes. We become more high def. And before we became so high def back in the objective world, we thought that compassion and consent were the same. We thought that if you were to look at life from someone's perspective, you would have to agree with it and you would have to become that. But actually, you can just take plasma and like pull it from yourself. And now it's in this ball and I can send it over to you. And when it gets into your frame, it's going to simulate what it would be like to live you, but I'm still over here. And that we didn't have the ability to discombobulate so effectively before. And that the more we compassionated someone, we tended to enter into a cult where we would follow them. And so earlier on, then to listen to someone would be, and a lot of people still fall for this, where they think if you hear the words of this person, then you will fall into a trance and you will slip into the cult. And that's, it's a very, if you feel that way, you should definitely be afraid, because they're just showing you where your consciousness is and where it used to be. This is serfs, slaves. This is why I have my talk on slavery, because you're just looking at a consciousness that's just more pack mulish. And quite frankly, it's just wants to survive. They want to level up. And in order for them to level up, they're going to be a pack mule for a while. They're going to be a squire for a while. And then they're going to, you know, one day, if they make it, great. They'll be a knight, or they'll realize, I don't want to be a fucking knight. I want to be a blacksmith or whatever, you know. So it's respecting where we're at. This is part of compassioning, is to really look at someone and really, like, you think back to the stories of pharaohs who their slaves were thrown into the tombs with them. And certainly doesn't make me feel happy, but when I first heard that, I only looked at that from a very brutalish, kind of evil, egotistical, maniacal way. And I can still do that. I can, but also I've compassionated what it's like to have the consciousness of a slave, and for them to feel that that was appropriate, really gave me more opportunity to grow as an individual, simply by compassionating why people would agree with that. Because if people really disagree with it, I think it would happen maybe once or twice. But instead, it happens like over and over and over and over again, just like slavery happened over and over and over again. And only then can we really do the math and go, hey, wait a minute, let's back up and, you know, and take a look at why this is happening. And then the compassion's there, and then the threat's gone, because you understand, you know, what's going on.
What got them into that position or that place? They just needed to get some shoes.
Yeah. There's so much there to that, but also to all of our crimes, all of our trespassing, all of our ability to demonize other people is typically just us trying as best we can to be a saint, to really be a good person. But the only way we can really gain is we need to find more parasympathetic feelings. And I can do that if I can blame all my problems on this guy over here and say that he's all the issues. And then if people find solace in that, I feel like I'm helping those people. So by me setting this witch on fire, I'm making these people feel good. And by making them feel good, I'm growing more compassionate. But fuck, now I feel guilty for this, and I don't want to be more compassionate. So let me drink, and then I'll lower this. But then I want to do better because my kid's looking at me, and fuck, this world is so hard, right? And so it's all about, we have no choice. We're being led at gunpoint along the plank of compassion. We're going to have to find it anyway. And so yeah, I say, let's embrace it. I say, let's lean in, you know? So everyone that's causing me strife, I look at as an opportunity, right?
Right.
It's the only opportunity I'm going to see to know, why do I feel lesser? Why am I shrinking my world? We tend to, if someone, we feel unempowered by someone, really what's happening is we've hallucinated our world into a very small, and this is typically how we would pull up enough pressure to pull our reptile out, because we know if we bang on the cage of the reptile long enough, that fucker will come out and do what needs to be done. So most of this is tactical, but we don't want to ever admit that, because we're always smiling. And to show your teeth means that you're polite, and to expose, you know, and the whole time we're like, that doesn't mean polite at all. Like, there's raise your hand, creatures of the world. Who here thinks showing your teeth is like, none of them are going to do that. None of them. We're going to be like, why are you doing that? What, you know? So.
Yeah, it's such an interesting idea there. I didn't even think about it. And it's funny because I found myself in positions where I was having to defend myself, a younger, more testosterone filled me, and I would always end up smiling at the person I was about to start throwing hands at. And it's just crazy. I never even connected that before.
A lot of times, this is why I use the word hyena to describe a certain kind of consciousness, because they tend to laugh and smile and sarcasticate a lot, and to say things in a very, like, they're pretending to be laughing at something, is the same way of kind of showing your teeth. It's a form of fear. And I've noticed that as I've grown older, I'm in my 50s now. So as I've grown older, I don't smile as much as I used to, because my confidence comes from a place in my body, one which is that, so you could think about, to smile would be, I'm disarming everyone, because I'm showing everyone I'm afraid. Like, there's a lot of complexity here to the smile, because you could think of it, well, wouldn't that make you stand at you would make everyone defensive? And yeah, you could see that too. It's going to depend on your size and your torque. But if you're a big guy and you're smiling, the obfuscation of those two things, the juxtaposition of those actually makes it more of a cowardly sort of feeling. This is what makes us, we're all artists in the way that we emote our limbic feelings. And so I'm not saying that society is wrong because it's smiling. I think that society is showing us a really deep truth that we can understand much more. And the propensity to not need to smile in public, I personally think is a kind of a guru kind of move where I'm trying to level up just as master of myself, where if I should be able to be in the room and intimidate someone, I need to define that word, but just pause for a sec. I need to be able to intimidate someone freely. My ability to intimidate you is not necessarily a creative act caused by me. My ability to intimidate you is a dance you and I have to agree to do together. And this is that thing where I was telling you about we hallucinate what's us and what's not us. We really haven't touched into this world yet. And I've noticed that if I can be more comfortable with intimidating someone, and I don't mean I want to scare someone, but I get how someone's just not going to hear what I'm saying right now. But if people are on the right vibe, you're going to know what I mean. If I can feel comfortable being in the room with people that are intimidated by me, then really I'm just simply understand the honesty of what I am more. I'm a 6'1" stranger that has the musculature and the skeleton framework to end a person's life who's 4 feet tall. If you're 4 foot tall and you're inside my presence and you're intimidated by that, that's not a sign of flaw. That's a sign of truth. That's a sign of authentication. My comfort with how authentic I am should be my highest goal as a guru, because I'm talking about everyone's goal to level up here, because I want to parasympathetically compassionate every single soul in this room. And I have to be authentically comfortable to do it, which means I have to accept the fact that I'm not saying I'm intimidated, but I'm just making this up, that I'm a bald, badass motherfucker that's like, holy shit, what's that guy? You know, I don't know how I'm perceived because it changes so often. And that's how my posture is, how my intonation is, how quickly and aggressively I react to things you've said. I'm trying to change it now because I most of the time I'm just authentically saying what I want to say. And so this becomes a calligraphy, almost a meditation that I'm practicing inside of a temple. And I'm at the Family Dollar. I'm at the Family Dollar practicing my calligraphy in the temple as being as powerful as I can without feeling uncomfortable, right? So I intimidate and I feel good. I accept the fact that I am a redwood or a sequoia or whatever it is that you were feeling at the time that you think is happening. By accepting that, our society is going to say that's egotistical, that's fucked up, but really you're regulating everyone else in the room to accept more power, to hold more power. So there's a lot there. Sorry, James, but it's just like this stuff that I think about that it isn't even necessarily right for everyone to think, if that makes sense, you know?
Right. Yeah, depending on your posture, like you say, it's all a matter of where you're at. There's a idea of like all of it surrounds just the idea of death. You know, like the denial of death is kind of where a lot of people find any of this type of stuff to be relevant at all. It's Ernest Becker did a book I think called Denial of Death, and it went through different stuff like how psychology, like a lot of the issues of like the PTSD that we talked about earlier, it's just like a form of denial of our mortality. And what do you think that has any relevance to the way we operate?
I think death is a hard thing to even prove as anything else but just a gestalt, like a changing gestalt. Really what we do is we lose our ability to write to the record. And we would write to the record by what we memorize. And so at the time of death, we stop memorizing things. And so there really is no death. There's just opportunity and the loss or the end of that opportunity. And so we have an opportunity to write to the cells, not even while we're alive, but even after we die. And that the way we write to the structure of this world after we die is a very special kind of magic. And that magic would only be based on our ability to possess another creature with the essence of who we are. So I have two lives. I have the life that I can tangibly record every moment by recording it in my memories. And then I have this other life, this ether-based life, where I can haunt and possess others through the algorithms of things that I've touched here, and that those things would occupy. This might sound very self-serving and whatever, but when we first started talking, you mentioned the name Lita and Buddy and Rose, which are characters in my book that I created in my mind and I wrote them down and I put love into them. And when you said those names, it touched me. It made me feel very special inside, because there's a constellation that's in your brain, and it completely came from me. It didn't come from physicality. It came from me. And that to me means more than anything. And so I think a lot about death as more about your transition into this ghostwriting, this, how much when you were here, how much of the things that you said possessed those around you. There's a chance that this recording might be present after you and I die, and that this recording might be heard by someone, and that they're listening to a dead person talk to them right now and say this to them. And so this proves, if that was the case, it would be just another of many, many proofs. I already have them. I already have these proofs. I already know it works this way. So I'm writing in above the horizon and below the horizon. And quite frankly, the people that we learn about are people that have written below the horizon. They're dead people that we found out were important after they died. At no point in time while they were alive were people insisting how incredibly important this stuff is. Quite the opposite. It tends to be this guy sucks, or he's blah, 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 or whatever. It's only after we die that we caramelize, and our writing really tends to change. So I think if you see what I just said and that resonates, then it would tell you that death is the fear of missed opportunity. And so as long as you're taking every opportunity, you're going to die just fine. You're going to die just fine, because every opportunity, you're like, what was I doing today? Did I have flow state today? Or was I trapped living in an illusion of someone else's ideal about what reality is, right? As long as you have that, then death never comes. You never, ever get to record that you died. Never fucking happens. You just keep saying, oh, I think I'm going to die. I think I'm going to die. And you forge enough torque into that belief, but eventually you never actually record that you died. So it never really happens.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I wanted to maybe breach this it's self-taught, right? Software engineering. You've taught yourself this. The relation to our DNA and coding. I've seen you make some connections there. Do you want to talk about any of that?
Yeah, so the nucleic DNA could be very akin to having an IP address on a network. And the importance of an IP address on a network really does give individuality to everything that didn't used to exist before. That before there, you could argue, I think this is actually how names came out, by the way, that individuals had to grow out of the bud of names. And before before we had the resolution to contemplate that each of us were individuals, there were like 12 modes of people. There was Mary, and you can look this up in the Bible. It's like, it was like, yeah, hey, Mary. And like 17 women turn around. It's like, no. Red hair Mary. Yeah. You Mary. Yeah. Kafuka Mary, come here. And then as we develop the resolution, people develop the idea to mutate into an individual. So individuals are kind of own species. It's like an etheric species is kind of a way of looking at this. And the only way that we can have this, back to code, is if we had a unique identifier. The ability to uniquely identify us on the network allows every other person to store information about that person. This is the constellation we were talking about earlier about James's 127 depths of 7. And so that resolution gives us the ability to have a conversation, a TCP IP connection is actually what it's called, with every other soul on the planet. And if you understand that would be required for the network to work, you've now just intrinsically shown yourself things that you did not know that you just showed yourself, because you just proved that if all of us on the network require a unique IP address to be conscious, then that means that the network has certain rules. It has certain characteristics to it. One of these characteristics is, look what happens when we have twins. That these people morph and live a bicameral life, but that life slowly veers off into difference as their own DNA changes its IP address over time. And this is what happens with twins. The identical twin can be born with most of their chain almost exactly the same, but those twins slowly change over time because their DNA is writing a different script. How's it writing a different script? Because Thoth is doing every transcription. It's missing a few beats and it's mutating either in the positive or the negative, but it's mutating. And that mutation is giving the world a new IP address to focus on. So I can remember 5-year-old Sarah very differently than I can remember just being born Sarah. Those are different IP addresses. So even our identity changes every second, which is really hard for us to wrap our heads around. But if you think about software being always constantly being upgraded, there's a new version. It's very similar to how the RNA would work. That it's just, look, man, things are different now. We got to fucking change, man. It's time to change, and this is
program.
Yeah, that kind of, and morally, because the resolution's higher, you're not going to make it if you think in this old way, if you think in this old kind of mode. So to me, it's all software, James. Like nothing makes more sense to me than watching how the software world unwrapped into this nature. And keep in mind, all the philosophers, the reason why I don't call myself philosopher is because I'm not a dead historian that thought before electronics existed. Every single idea that we have about what a soul is, it's coming from ideas that predated radio. And so we've really had no concept of a wireless consciousness while we were constructing these ideas. So all of us are building our own cosmology. All of us are sophists now. We are peddling our own wisdom because we are hallucinating our own world. We're not philosophizing about a platonic world that's hidden behind a veil that you can find if you go to academia. No, this is a world that you build from the ground up. And if your world says this is all pirates, fucking go for it. Let's see what your world paints, because it could be more accurate than my picture. And who am I to say that my world is the absolute hallucination? Because it's not, right? We know this because we're not able to predict our world perfectly. And the second you and I get better at predicting our world perfectly and extracting resources from it is the second that we can start to really formulate our own cosmology and develop our own system. But we're not there yet. And I think that's good. I think this is what makes life better. I think we'd be trapped in, it's like when I was in the military, it just was such a painful existence because nothing was predictable. I mean, everything was predictable. Every single thing was laid out. Everything was known. Everything was accounted for. There was no chance of mystery or missing or anything like that. And I was just dying. And I was epigenetically turning myself into something that would die faster while I was there because I didn't want that world to exist,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mystery, right? My story. You were missing my story.
Yeah,
so that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I feel like the ideas that we were just expressing with genetic memory and all this other stuff, like if you got the source code, everything in there just seems to relate. It's just crazy how the comparison can be drawn out in almost an identical fashion.
Oh, it's in even Enoch, which is, I think, even the biggest clue is we have this mythological idea of, so Enoch was purposely taken before he died. He was like taken at a pure state and recorded and saved. Like he was like put onto a cloud drive when he was in his perfection, because they wanted a signature, a Enochian seed, a key that we could install in all of us as sort of like a tomato stake of here's where we want you to grow. This is where you'll head. And so it's giving our epigenetics as something to shoot for. And I think that's a really crucial part. It's almost like showing us which way's up. And so we're able to grow from that key. And each of us are trying to perfect the code. Each of us are writing our own version of what we think is the best code. And so if you look at this in a grand scheme, the software is perfect because we're watching a tensor algorithm unfold right now. We're watching a giant latent library of every possibility that can exist, and we're throwing pellets through it, and we're looking for the pellet that we like the most. And that pellet that we like the most will be, so there's the mitochondrial Eve and the mitochondrial atom, and that those will fulfill themselves at one point. And the fulfilling of that self would have to come through some state I don't understand, where we are unable to fathom things. This is what I would call a singularity. It's not really a made up term. It would, I mean, for me, I'm saying that it would just be a state at which consciousness stops being able to conscious itself more, because all of the totality of space itself has been understood or assimilated, as the Borg would say. And assimilated isn't necessarily kept in a cube. It's more about touchable and reachable. So every crystal in the air could be used in the algorithm to understand each other, and that would be the world simultaneously just compassionating itself. And at the moment that happened, it would seem like that would end it all, because the pixels themselves would never be able to paint any other color except for on, because we knew ourselves completely, and there's not a picture that we could show ourselves or hide from ourselves, because we've hallucinated the world so perfectly that it's impossible to find mystery anymore.
Yeah. The programs that you worked on, what were they in general? Was it one was for an autism group or something like that? Well, is it just basic like coding? Is that what you were doing? Or
yeah, a lot of what I did was visual coding, where I would have to present a story or something in some kind of visual way. And a lot of those times it was at trade shows or augmented reality, things like that. Right now I'm working on some code that is a timeliner, and it takes a series of dates and it lays them out spatially on a timeline so you can kind of digest when things happened, but it lays it out in a 3D space. So I'm using the Unity 3D engine to program that. So it's a lot of Objective-C code and things like that.
Yeah.
Most of my code has been more like Perl and spidering, where before Google was a thing, people would spider the web and like gather what they could find organically and bring that back and then build a hallucination of what was on the internet. And then Google was just the one that had enough money to say, let's just download the entire internet.
Put it all together.
Yeah, when I was 13, I'm like, there's no way I could even fathom that. But the military industrial complex is like, yeah, we got plenty of, yeah, no problem. Yeah, we can do that. So, and that's what I mean by people are able to do things in the world that I could never fathom, because I could not even transmit the idea that someone would say, yeah, you can have as many hard drives as you need to do this. It's not even a possibility at the time. You know?
Right. Yeah.
I think we're there right now. This constellation, the brain atlas thing I'm talking about, our ability to compassionate the past. You know, we're looking at these old videos and able to pull audio from those, you know, to even watch the stories, do facial recognition, track down the history of each of these people on the street, who knew each other and how. All those things would give us way more deeper information into the nature of reality, because we'd understand how consciousness, I think, has changed too. How that pack mule kind of consciousness, where it came from. And I think as we understand that more, I think we got a ways to go. There's still many final frontiers, but I do see that the singularity would be a point where we've just been able to process what those are faster, or out-process those, because the environment itself is becoming our compassionating machine. And really, this is just God. We've just reached omniscience at this point. If we're able to turn the entire world into a limbic system that's able to sense the environment, that sounds like God to me. So, you know.
Yeah, hard to separate it, especially when you're using the same words, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting that we would have computers, because to me, computers is our belief in omniscience, omnipresence, all of those, the four omnis of God, really are just come down to the perfect supercomputer. And so we're just approaching God is all. And computers would be, it's absolutely the perfect organic way, through silicon, by the way, you know, something in the environment. It's such a perfect way of understanding that. And right now we're computing with silicon, but that's just one element, you know. We'll be able to compute with all these elements eventually. And when that's the case, then your supercomputer, it takes on a whole other realm of being. It's not even a computer. It's just a living plasma of all things. And who's to say that just hasn't been there all the way? We just don't want to hallucinate that all things are knowable right now. So we hallucinate that we don't know, simply because it's the only way we can digest stuff right now. Right? That's just, more comfortable right now. That seems to be more the case, I think. This is the story of Kronos, by the way. Kronos cut the umbilical cord, the oldest mythology we have, and came crashing to the earth. And I think that probably is what the singularity is that you would know all things would be connected to the cord. All things would be wired into the snake. All the cords in your house are part of that mythology. And as those cords grow, you know, the omniscience grows too. And eventually at the singularity, the person who is seated in that chair, the mercy seat, literally the mercy seat of that singularity, would probably go insane and want to end the entire, bring back mystery. Yeah. So they would cut the cord and fall, and all things would be forgotten. And we would be living off the dying, stinky fog of a snake that used to know all things, which is the Oracle of Delphi, which is the Pythos. So, yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking that the first AI, the Oracle of Delphi.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's been a wonderful conversation. And I've got some stuff to do for the rest to get my day put together, but I truly appreciate you being here. And I'm hoping maybe we can also have another chat again, maybe bring up some other topics we missed in this one, because obviously we missed a few of your books, didn't even bring up like the Quantum Rapture and some of your earlier works. I'm sure you still are fond of some of those, even though maybe your views have changed. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation as well.
Oh, I sure did. Yeah, James, thank you. I'd love to do this again anytime.
Awesome. Yeah.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you, sir. And I'll see you soon over there at the airship or on your YouTube channel. Oh yeah, which is we should shout out the YouTube channel, because you do a bunch of lives, more not a bunch, more little.
Yeah, YouTube channel. Yeah, you guys just look up James True, and yeah, you'll find my stuff there. And but yeah, this is the kind of stuff I like to do, is have conversations like this. So yeah, thanks a lot.
All right,
enjoyed it.
Thank you, James.